NBC Sports Network welcomes you to the following presentation of the IZOD IndyCar Series.
The Lone Star State is big on motor racing, and when one of Houston's own is AJ Foyt, you know H-Town loves IndyCar. Today marks the final street course race of the year. It's also a race that could make or break series leader Helio Castroneves. He came into this weekend with a significant 49-point lead and saw almost all of it evaporate in just one race. On the flip side yesterday, couldn't have been better for Scott Dixon. The Kiwi is the most successful driver this year with 4 wins, and Saturday's victory allowed him to turn up the heat on his title rival. But the championship fight wasn't the only headline. Simona Di Silvestro achieved a career milestone yesterday with a stunning second place, her very first IndyCar podium. Welcome to IndyCar Live, presented by Verizon, where we'll get you ready for today's 90-lap race. It's the final double-header event of the season. And what a wildly different day today is weather-wise. Some 30 degrees cooler than the sweltering conditions we experienced yesterday. Patches of water on the track. We've had rainfall here today. And people wearing sweaters and light jackets today. That was something we certainly did not see yesterday. Hi folks, Lee Diffie with you here. Welcome to IndyCar Live, presented by Verizon from the streets of Houston, Texas. It's the second last race of this 19-race schedule for 2013. We'll finish up on the oval in Fontana in a couple of weeks' time. Yesterday's first race of the weekend had to be seen to be believed. As they say, everything is bigger here in Texas. Well, yesterday was colossal. The Shell and Pennzoil Grand Prix of Houston. Now we see green and we're going to stall. That's Hinchcliffe.
Oh, wow.
Wow. And contact Ed Carpenter. Willpower at the front of this field. Let's go racing in Houston. Massive championship implications for Helio Castroneves. The man who boasted a 49-point championship lead has been sitting stationary for 7 laps. Willpower, Scott Dixon, they're in a league of their own. 10 seconds ahead of the third place Simona Di Silvestro.
And the handling finally going away to the point that Scott Dixon did finally want to come down pit road.
All the pressure now swings on Team Penske to execute a perfect stop for Willpower.
And some trouble. They could not get the jack to go up. This will cost Willpower a little bit of time. Let's see where he cycles out.
Dixon, side by side, and easily beats Willpower. Championship contender Simon Pagenaud claws his way back into the top 5.
For whatever reason, Ryan Hunter-Reay, after he made what was a routine pit stop, something mechanically going wrong on that one car.
But our race leader, Scott Dixon, on pit road. Full course caution. This will be a huge break.
10 to go. Look at our leader has disappeared. Big storyline behind him is Simona Di Silvestro has never had an IndyCar podium.
Full course yellow.
And we go under caution again. Scott Dixon, this was the day he was hoping for. 8 points from 49 to 8. That's how quickly things can change. Dixon wins his 4th of the year and the first of this Texas doubleheader.
Good job, boys. That's what we needed. Makes it a little more interesting now.
Indeed it will. A Dixon, Di Silvestro, Wilson podium. A little bit of everything in that race, and we've had it all this week as well, because the Houston Texans played here at Reliance Stadium just last Sunday. That gave the construction crews only 4 days to get the track ready. There was a huge bump that needed grinding down. That pushed qualifying from Friday to Saturday. Crazy race yesterday. It all sets up beautifully for today. And then this morning, there was a huge downpour, and it didn't just last 5 or 10 minutes. The rain went on for hours. It delayed the morning warm-up. There was meant to be a second qualifying session today. That did not happen because of these bizarre conditions, in contrast to what happened yesterday. So the grid for today's 90-lap race will be set as per entrance points, not driver's points, but car entrance points. That means Helio Castroneves will start on the front row alongside who else? But championship rival Scott Dixon. We couldn't ask for it to be any better. It is an interesting day today. We put these guys head-to-head, Castroneves and Dixon, to show you the scope and the landscape of their season. And for Helio, it's been smooth sailing up until yesterday, when that 49-point lead all but evaporated. It is now down to 8 with only 2 races to go. And the man turning up the heat is Scott Dixon. He's with Marty Snyder.
Well, Diff, a different ball game today for Scott Dixon. Yesterday when we talked pre-race, he was 49 points behind. Today, just 8 points behind. So how does that change, the thought process and the strategy for the day, Scott?
Not too much. We got to try and do the same as what we did yesterday. I think for us it would be a big deal to go into Fontana with at least some margin, or at least leading the championship, whether it's by a point, just to have a little bit of a buffer. Depending if you finish, 5th or 6th or something, it might work out the way that you need it. So yesterday was a day that we had talked about. We needed the number 3 to have a few problems, and it turned out that way. And our car was strong, and we ended up getting a win. So it was nice to be back in the podium. It's been a rough couple of races in the last 2, so it was good to be back on the top spot. But today's a new day. Everything's starts at 0 again, and we're basically to try and make the most of it.
Elio has been struggling a little bit this weekend. Would you almost have rather qualified to maybe get a little bit of a gap to start the race?
Yeah, I think they should have started off yesterday's qualifying.
I'm sure you do, yeah.
I would have started 3rd, but he was a little ways back. But it is what it is. We thought we were actually on the pole for a little bit, and then they said it's per event because he had 15 team owner points taken off him, and the grid is set on owner points, so they then reverted back to being the points from the start of the weekend. It's all very confusing, but we're starting on the front row, and we'll try and make the most of today.
And Lee, remember the last doubleheader? Guess who won both races? This guy, trying to pull it off this weekend as well.
And Marty, he scored a bonus $100,000 there in Canada. There's $50,000 up for grabs if he can win the second race today, with thanks to Sonax as well. What has happened this weekend to Elio Castroneves is quite simply breathtaking, because many have described his season as ideal. He's had 5 podiums, including a win, but it has all started to unravel here in Texas. He did that once, and then he did it again at turn 2. In qualifying, there was a little hiccup. He got all out of sorts, and look at the face. That says it all. Things have not been going Elio's way. To the race, and a lucky escape for he and Dario Franchitti when James Hinchcliffe stalled. Look, they narrowly avoid hitting Hinch. So he gets away with one there. Scoot forward to 24. He wasn't about to get away with this. He had a gear cluster issue, and he sat idle on pit lane for some 10 laps. He got going again to try and salvage some points, and this was the second time in the race that he ended up in the turn 3 runoff area. Absolute frustration. And he has seen what has been an amazing season, where he was the one and only driver to complete 100% of the laps. Well, that all went away yesterday. It's left the Penske team and Elio scratching their heads, and he's standing by with Jan Beekes.
And Lee, as you said, yesterday everything went the wrong direction for Elio, but today you awaken. You don't even have to hit the racetrack, and because of the rules, you're not going to start on the pole.
That's right. What a crazy weekend, let's put it this way. But in the end of the day, for us, I'm not complaining, obviously, and the weather is playing a little bit on us. But at this point, we're glad that we're starting in the front. Remember what I said yesterday. If you want to start, you want to start here in the back or in the front. We did yesterday in the back. It's now we're in the front.
As the team found, what went wrong yesterday?
Yeah, they did. Wasn't the GCU. I apologize for the people that make the GCU. It wasn't mechanical. We fixed it. Now we'll move on.
All right, now today, you said as soon as you get out of the car, you have to be aggressive. Do you charge?
Well, we're in a good position now to be in charge of this race, and that's what we're going to do.
All right, Castroneves starts from the pole.
It's all to play for Elio Castroneves. Pit lane is alive, building up to this second and final doubleheader race of the year. When we come back, we're going to hear from Simona Di Silvestro, who had a brilliant day yesterday. You're watching IndyCar Live on NBCSN, presented by Verizon.
I chose the National Guard because I get to be in the military, but at the same time still be a productive member of the actual local community. I want to be close to my family, but still be able to travel and serve my country. The spotlight that the National Guard has here with IndyCar, I think it's spectacular. The fact that we can actually be out here and show a presence, pretty much tell people what we're about, everyone who's interested in becoming a soldier, and yet still being able to serve the community, and when need be called up to active duty as well.
As we do each and every round, we'd like to thank our National Guard hometown heroes. You know, there have been 4 women compete in the IZOD IndyCar Series this year, but there's only one full-time female driver, and that is Swiss native Simona Di Silvestro. Her competitors in the IZOD IndyCar Series respect her for her ability to drive one of these high-horsepowered IndyCars. But yesterday, she put an exclamation mark on her talent by finishing on the podium. it's reason to celebrate for car number 78. Simona Di Silvestro, this is her highest career accomplishment. She's never stood on an IndyCar podium.
I really have to thank, everybody at KV Racing sticking with me, and finally we have our podium. You see this? I'm still hanging my stuff. Tonight, I'm gonna eat a steak and go to bed. Think about me while I'll be like sleeping, but like, yeah, go party for me. So yeah, awesome.
And normally you do get to celebrate after a great result. Simona Di Silvestro with her first podium, second yesterday. So what did you ultimately do last night?
Well, it wasn't that much of a party, but some of my family was here, and so we kind of had a nice dinner. But I had to go to bed pretty early, so, kind of preparing for today. And it was just great feeling, I think everybody was just really happy. And now we got to do it again, so we'll see how it goes today.
It's the result you've been waiting for, and you earned it. It wasn't a fluke. It wasn't fuel strategy. You held off one of the best in the business, Justin Wilson-Lace.
Yeah, definitely. That's the biggest thing. The race yesterday, we qualified there and really were competitive. And, there wasn't any big crashes and anything like that made us move forward. So I think that's what is really cool. And, I think I really deserved it.
How do you feel physically?
Yesterday night when I went to bed, everything was a little bit tense, but today when I woke up, it was fine. So hopefully we'll be okay.
All right, a lot of fans here for Simona Di Silvestro, working her way through the field today. She'll start 17th.
Well, on Friday afternoon, Simon Pagenaud promised me he was going to be aggressive in an attack mode this weekend. You gained 20 points on the championship yesterday. Does that make you even a little more aggressive today, knowing that the championship's maybe a little closer?
Yeah, there's 2 races left. We had a good day yesterday with the HP car, placing 4th. Unfortunately, Helio had problems, but it helps us. So today we're still in it, and we're going to try. We're going to try hard. We'll see how it is, if it's damp or not, but there's certainly a lot to gain today.
Yesterday was such a hot, physical day. This racetrack is very tough. How are guys feeling today? Is there a little bit of soreness today, and how will that impact the race this afternoon?
Yeah, we didn't get much sleep. We finished the briefing here at 8 o'clock last night, and woke up at 6 in the morning, so not much time to recover, but a little sore here and there. But all in all, I feel pretty good. I'm pretty well rehydrated, so I should be fine today.
Finished 4th yesterday, as he mentioned. That is 4 straight top 5 finishes for this race team.
And Marty, he won in the junior open wheel categories. He's an American Le Mans Series sports car champion. The one thing Simon Pagenaud dearly wants to achieve is to be the IZOD IndyCar Series champ, and he still can do it for 2013 with just 2 races to go. Quick reminder about downloading the IndyCar 13 app. Simply call ** Indy or search the App Store or Google Play, only from Verizon. It's the second in this doubleheader weekend. Standing starts are on the menu. This is going to be brilliant. This weekend's Shell and Pennzoil Grand Prix of Houston doubleheader ends a 6-year drought for open wheel racing here in H-Town. And the fans have really enjoyed it being back here. And the strangest things that happen. Look at Dario Franchitti around for the lap waving to the fans, and whoever was in that pickup truck put the window up and squashed his fingers. The bizarre things you see. And that literally just happened while we were in the break. I hope his left hand is okay. If it isn't grueling enough to do 2 90-lappers around here. Poor old Dario. Now, speaking of bizarre things, you normally attach that with Wally Dallenbach, right? It's time for this week's GoPro course preview. Take a look.
All right, well, I picked up some Texans on the way, and I'm flattered that you girls would ride with me, even after you did the background check on me. So we're going to take a lap around this new Houston racetrack. Oh, it's a little bit bumpy there.
That's no big deal. Oh, there's
Yellow flag means caution. This is the chicane.
Oh, okay.
How about a cheer for NBC at least?
You're good,
All right, left-hander. This is a good place to pass. It's awfully tight here, but it's a good passing zone right here. We got a little congestion here. We got some guys working off track, so we're going to have to go slow here, ladies. Now, this is a high-speed part of the racetrack. We're going to see some high speeds of IndyCar here. They're going to be flying very tight through here, but it's awfully fast. Cars are going to kind of push out to the wall, and we're setting up for, I believe, a left-hander coming up. I really don't know this track that well.
Roller coaster rides have nothing on this. Just want to let y'all know.
Easy, ladies. Okay, the left-hander. This is another really good place to pass. Little short chute here. going to lead us on to kind of a fast sweeper through here. How about Townsend Bell? I don't miss him. How about you, girls?
Oh, who's that?
Exactly.
Timo?
That's exactly right. That's it. We've got a little short shoot here. Busy racetrack. But I think it's going to be a real challenge. This is going to be a tough corner for these guys here. Leading on to another short shoot that's going to be into another left-hander. This is the last corner of the racetrack, but this is going to be interesting for these guys. It really tightens up here. And that's a lap. How about a shout out to Robin?
Robin Miller.
I met my wife, Robin.
The GoPro course preview is always a lot of fun. Townsend Bell is back with us for the second race today. See what happens when you're away?
How everything goes south in a hurry. I think it was a good idea I wasn't there yesterday.
Wally, let's get down to the business at hand, and that is this intense championship fight between Helio Castroneves and Scott Dixon. You guys are both racers. If you're Castroneves, what's going on in his head?
Well, let's see. Last night, I didn't get any sleep whatsoever. I lost 41 points, and I'm sitting there laying there. Maybe I should pull a 1990 Formula One Senna on pros and then go to Fontana with my 8-point lead. I mean, right now, if you're Helio Castroneves, he is worried. He has got to go on the offensive instead of being on the defensive. I got a guy that's next to me on the front row right now that I know is very, very hungry. So he's in a tough spot, and you could see on the look on his face after qualifying yesterday that it was in his head already because he had a bad qualifying run, and yesterday did not go well for him. Today, a little bit better because of the way they're starting. He's got a front row spot. But let me tell you something. Helio Castroneves is a nervous race car driver right now.
Townsend, you have raced against both of these guys as recently as this year's Indy 500. You've raced against Scott Dixon a lot. If you're Dixie, what's going on for him?
If I'm Scott Dixon right now, not only can I smell blood, man, I can taste it. It's so close. But my confidence comes not only from the fact that I've won a championship before, but also the confidence in my race team. Remember back in Sebring earlier in the summer, the Ganassi team went by themselves to Sebring, did street circuit testing to develop their handling and compliance package. I think the full value of that development decision is paying off here in Houston this weekend.
It sets up for a gripping championship fight. We've only got 2 races left. Today's the final street course. It ramps up when we come back. IndyCar Live, presented by Verizon, continues. See you in a moment. After yesterday's scorcher, today is just a beautiful day. For those of you turning on, early morning rainfall had plenty of people worried where qualifying for this second race in this doubleheader weekend was postponed, but we have got just perfect cool conditions to go racing here in Houston, Texas. It's time for the national anthem to be sung by Clay Walker.
And now, race fans, please remain standing and join multi-platinum curb sidewalk recording artist and Texas resident Clay Walker as he sings our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Born in Beaumont, here in Texas. Clay Walker with the national anthem, a man who has penned 6 #1 country music hits. There is Scott and Emma Dixon. What a huge day it was for them yesterday, and just sheer delight. Here's some interesting numbers for you. It is the 8th straight year the championship will come down to the final race. Interesting. It is a possibility that Elio could clinch today. We'll tell you more about that, but it is a big, long stretch. And 5 of those 8 years where it's gone down to the wire, it's been between Penske and Ganassi. With more on these titans of the sport, here's Robin Miller.
The Hatfields and McCoys, Lee. Penske and Ganassi, the way we like to see it at the end of the season, just about every year. Last year was an exception. RP, everybody was concerned about Elio's state of mind after yesterday. What do you think it is?
Well, I think it's a lot better today. Obviously, we had a break with the qualifying today. Chip's guys did a great job yesterday. We had a reliability problem. Dixon's on the best roll he's had. We got some work to do today.
Chip, Scott's been here before. He's still hunting. He's 8 points behind, but I think he kind of relishes that job of hunting him down.
I think he does, Robin. I mean, like you said, though, it's not, this series isn't a gimme. These races aren't gimmies, and we got 2 full races of points to gather up here, so it's going to be a slug out from here, I can tell you.
It seems like you and RP get along pretty well, but your teams hate each other.
I don't think that's true at all. I think our teams. I think it is true that we're very close, Roger and I, obviously, but our teams are very competitive. They're competitive guys. They want to win, and I don't blame them. And it's a war out there, but at the end of the day, they know we all love the sport.
Well, hate's good for racing anyway. RP, what about during the race? You've always been a pretty calming influence on the radio to him, so are you going to be more calm today than usual?
I'm going to try to do my best. We got a lot of pressure, but again, as Chip said, a couple of races to go here. It's not over until it's over. So to me, it's great to be here in Houston. I think it's a great track for us from the standpoint of the sport. Great, a lot of young kids here, which I like, and to me, we're going to see a great race.
All right, gang. Ganassi, Penske, Hatfields, McCoys. Let's shake hands for the camera. See? I'm paid him to do that.
Nice one, Robin. Yeah, it doesn't get any bigger, does it? Penske, Ganassi, Castro Neves versus Dixon. And the sun is shining. The weather is beautiful. They did the hard one. They did the tough one yesterday. Today will be a lot more palatable. You've been watching IndyCar Live on NBCSN, presented by Verizon. When we come back, we're going to fire these cars up, standing start, then go racing. After 17 rounds, the battle for the IndyCar Championship is at its gripping best between Elio Castro Neves and Scott Dixon. For Elio, his run has been of consistency, completing every lap in the season, but the city streets of Houston brought it all to an end.
No, don't shoot. You can't shift it at all? Okay, we'll change the cluster.
Major issues for our points leader. For Dixon, his run has been anything but consistent, from a trio of wins mid-season to trouble in Sonoma and Baltimore. Dixon on the inside. Wow! And the championship contenders' day is over. But yesterday, Scott put together an H-Town throwdown, Texas style.
Good job, boys. That's what we needed. Makes it a little more interesting now.
Returning to the top step, Dixon has reduced his rival's lead, and the championship is at its tightest we've seen in some 10 races. Let's see if Dixon can do another doubleheader dance today. It's time for the Shell and Pennzoil Grand Prix of Houston. Day 2 in this doubleheader weekend. It is race 18. Yes, and then there were 2. We're down to the final 2 races of the year here at the Reliant Park Stadium circuit on a beautiful Houston, Texas day. It's good to go racing, and Marty Snyder's ready. Marty?
And Lee, the cars have just cranked up, and this is going to be fun today. Our principals in the championship battle start 1-2. I talked to both of them right before they climbed into the car. Scott Dixon told me, I know we've had the better car all weekend, so I'm not worried about the first few laps. I'm more concerned about just letting the race play out as it needs to. Elio Castro Neves told me, I am worried about that first lap. I need to get as many points as I can today, and I want to take as much advantage as I can today of being up front. The one thing they both also told me, they're a little worried about the standing start area. There are some wet areas and some dry areas over there. That should be very interesting. closing, Jan.
And Marty, they just peel out right behind us, and of course one of those is Simon Pagenaud. Yesterday Simon was very quick, but he had trouble at starts and restarts. As the cars stream by here, what they're trying to do is get heat in the brakes and heat in the tires. That was the problem for Simon yesterday. The team thinks they have that fixed. Kevin?
Jan Simona Di Silvestro just pulled off. Yesterday she became just the third lady to get to a podium in IndyCar, but it's never been about being a female driver outside being a good role model for young girls. It's about being a race car driver, and she's proven it. She's now ready to think about winning. The key was getting consistent top fives, back-to-back top fives for Simona Di Silvestro. She has a long way to go today. Points starts her in 17th, Robin.
Kevin, yesterday Graham Rahal had a good run from the back to 7th place. A couple of races ago, he changed engineers. They got Neil Fife. More importantly, they got Mitch Davis, a veteran team manager, to take over this team. It's a completely different group as far as the mindset. They actually think about winning races now. They didn't think about that earlier in the year. They were just trying to survive. So it's going to be a tough day. Start pretty far back. But Graham Rahal's got a new attitude and some new leadership. Lee?
Robin, he said to me this morning, that was a pretty good charge yesterday, don't you think? 24th to 7th. And he kind of felt as though his teammate, James Jakes, made that car very wide on occasion. And he said, I thought best, rather than taking us both out, so I just tucked in behind James and stayed there. It's time to take a closer look at this 1.7-mile track. It is very challenging. Townsend, take us through.
Well, guys, no other place on the schedule defines the term urban jungle more than this Houston track. The bumps here are insane in several places. The corner speeds are actually very high. Turn 2 is a tricky little chicane that tempts you to climb the curbs aggressively. We've already seen that corner force some big mistakes. Turn 6 is a great passing area. It's wide enough for cars to fan out on the entry. And turn 9 is critical because it leads onto the track's longest stretch. This place is carved from 100% steel and concrete, and it'll be very unforgiving for the drivers. To win today, you're going to be one tough warrior.
Yeah, you saw some key overtaking points yesterday if you were with us. As we turn your attention to the starting grid, there's that bump on the front straight, which is that sweeper, which is really technically turn 1. I was talking to Ryan Hunter-Reay earlier today about it, and he said, look, Vizo nearly crashed going through that yesterday. I did my very best to swerve around it, Wally, and just have a smooth passage through.
Yeah, but there are some guys that we noticed yesterday. There were some guys that could take that bump and actually make some passes there. You're going to have to hang on. I mean, it's a 50-50 shot if the car's going to stay on the racetrack. But that racetrack you can use.
Again, the grid spots are determined as per entrance, as per car entrance points in this championship, because qualifying was postponed and cancelled this morning because of rainfall. T-Bell, what are you looking for today?
Well, I mean, let's be frank, guys. We talk about bump. That's a jump, okay? This place is full of opportunities to get it wrong. And I just look for guys that have a good handling on their balance, very confident that are going to get it right today.
We love our onboard views in the IZOD IndyCar Series. Let's show you who we have today. And let's start with the man from Spain. Oriol Servia has the National Guard on board for us. We're going to keep on rolling through. There's some good views. James Jakes, as always, will give us the Acorn Stairlifts viewpoint. His teammate, Graham Rahal, with thanks to battery tender. That's what his view looks like in the blue machine. We have Tony Kanaan, TK, the Indy 500 winner, with thanks to Chevy. And then this is CK. Charlie Kimball carries the Novolog FlexPen onboard camera. Simon Pagenaud, the Verizon view. And our pole sitter for this race, our championship leader, Helio Castro Neves, carries the Verizon streaming on board. To download the IndyCar 13 app, simply call Star Indy or search the App Store or Google Play. All the talking is done. The work begins now. They've had a good rest. The majority of the drivers have had a massage. They've rehydrated. They're focused. It's 90 laps. It's nowhere near as hot as yesterday, but still 90 laps on a bumpy, challenging 1.7-mile street circuit is tough. Sato's got troubles.
He's not going to be able to get squared up. He is parked. Oh, my gosh. He pulled it in the wrong slot. He's going to be at an angle. The lights are coming on, and he's waving his hand.
Got it. Nope, we're going to have to abort the start.
That's the voice of Larry Foyt talking to the 14 car.
If you can, you'll see it's Kumasato waving his hands. Please don't go. I am not squared up or ready to go.
So you simply make that he pulled into the wrong box.
He just pulled into the wrong box.
And then he stalled it trying to get into the right box.
Yeah.
I think if he would have kept it running, he could have got it in the box.
Well, I think he would have had a reverse. But remember, you can't go past the line and reverse up.
Dario Franchitti has troubles as well. You saw that pink car just a little further down. There's Dario. So not only did he get his hands jammed in the window after going round on the parade lap, he may have stalled it or has a clutch issue. Charlie Kimball had a clutch issue yesterday in the initial standing start, and we took 2. And then, of course, we had that incident with James Hinchcliffe where he stalled on the line and was collected by Ed Carpenter.
This is one of those things where when you do standing starts for the first time and you're not used to doing them all the time, you've got to remember to check the grid before the race, Wally, to remember where you're supposed to pull in. It's quite possible that Sato knew he was starting, towards the back, but can't remember my left or right.
This is yesterday. There's the pink car, the GoDaddy machine of James Hinchcliffe. It stalls. Everybody does a good job. Tristan Vautier slaps the wall, and then poor old Ed Carpenter at the back was presented with a stalled car on the track and could not do it. Just watch this. It's pretty savage. It was pretty violent.
It is. When you're racing an IndyCar, you got to remember how low to the ground you're sitting. Your vantage point is you're looking at rear wings in front of you. Ed Carpenter is roaring from the back of the field at the last second. He has no time to react.
Jan?
And you can see how he lurched forward, did James Hinchcliffe. I checked with the team just moments ago and said, do you know what happened yesterday? They say yes. They won't elaborate. They say they know what went wrong, and they made an adjustment for today.
And Hinchcliffe yesterday, when he was speaking with Marty, Wally, he said he knew what went wrong, but he didn't want to discuss it.
Yeah, he didn't tell us. He knew it, but...
Pretty interesting there. Yeah, we had some heavy rain this morning, and hopefully everybody sees that on the warm-up lap here, because a little bit of water on a very dry surface can be a sketchy thing.
Yeah, that's it looks like everybody knows it's there. But yeah, you're right, and that's pit exit, so that's not going to be too much of a problem. But
that looks to be a little bit more on the racing line, guys. That moisture.
I keep talking about the comparison of yesterday to today. So yesterday's green flag was right on 90 degrees. So here we go. We're regridding. Packing up again. It's the final street course. It's the final doubleheader. It's the final standing start for the 2013 season. They're in the start sequence. It's a Castro Neves Dixon front row. The title contenders are starting 1 and 2. Waiting for the green here in Houston. Marco Andretti bobbled a little on the line there. Castro Neves gets a good start, but so too does Dixon. Dixon sweeps around the outside of Elio Castro Neves, but Elio responds. Pagano's on the inside. Wilson locks it up.
Very good start. That's the kind of start you want to see on a standing start.
Good work, guys. Here comes Power on the inside of Ryan Hunter-Ray. That was opportunistic, but he capitalized. Good work in the Verizon Chevy. He's frustrated that he didn't win yesterday.
Boy, that took up a lot of space there, didn't he?
That most certainly will be under review. That was Ryan Hunter-Ray in the yellow car with Hinchcliffe in the pink GoDaddy car, and it sure looked like Hunter-Ray reacted to a hard-charging Hinchcliffe.
You can see this is a great opportunity to try to make some hay right here. You see a lot of guys trying to set people up, make a pass.
Sebastian Bourdais.
Yep, on Viso.
Mike Conway in the pack. Contact there between Graham Rahal and the yellow and green car of Tristan Vautier. Simona Di Silvestro's buried in the pack. It's the championship leader leading the race. Dixon is second. Pagano, Wilson, Andretti, and Will Power. And we understand that the 25 of Marco Andretti in there, Rahal and Vautier. We saw them come together earlier, and now they come to a stop.
You can see Graham Rahal was in a big hurry to get around Vautier. He knows he's got a good car. We'll have to look at the replay to see what happened here.
That is the third incident that Vautier has been involved in this weekend.
Vautier's going to get away with that. I think Rahal may have hit it pretty hard. Yeah, you look at the left front wheel there.
And they
might have some damage.
Not a lot of love between those guys anyway, Wally, with what went down in Baltimore. You remember that in qualifying?
Well, I can't wait to see the replay because I'm sure it's going to tell the story.
We had 7 full course cautions yesterday. We've got our first here today because of that.
Yeah, look at the wing and.
Yeah, it's like he missed the tires and made full impact on the left front there on the concrete wall.
Let's show you what happened with Graham Rahal and, there's somebody else involved. It's Simona. Simona goes on the inside and collects Graham, and Vautier was the innocent party there.
It's almost like Graham was having a look on Vautier. Vautier was trying to leave him room, and Simona sort of by accident ended up 3 wide there. I don't think she was expecting Graham to be
inside. Watch Marco there. Just a little bit of a jump there.
So Marco Andretti has been deemed to have jumped the start and will receive a penalty for that. You saw the blue and red RC Kohler car just edge forward, and then he caught it again, but it was too late. Race officials deeming that he's jumped the start.
You know, guys, we talked about Helio Castroneves' mindset. And Wally, I just think this is an enormous rebound of confidence. I know it's a subtle thing, one corner, but getting a jump on the start, not making a mistake, and leading into turn one, I think fixes a lot of the issues.
Well, not only that, but the way they started today was a big bump for Castroneves, because he didn't qualify well. Believe me, that was on his mind. They did not want to go through qualifying again.
So Helio does one of these. Whew. I made the start and I'm away. You're watching NBC SN's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Pennzoil. At Pennzoil, we know it doesn't matter what you do in your car, it only matters what you put in it.
We know some people just can't leave things be. They wonder how much faster this thing could go. What if it weighed less or turned sharper? They know that things can always be better. We count ourselves among those people. Introducing the quicker, sleeker, smarter, best Civic Si yet, made possible by Honda.
Honda, proud partner of the IZOD IndyCar Series.
Your car. It's been your wingman, dining room, and best friend. Baby maker, and baby soother. At Pennzoil, we know it doesn't matter what you do in your car, it only matters what you put in it. That's why Pennzoil is designed to give you unsurpassed engine protection, so you can protect your car and the memories made in it. Save 50 cents per gallon on Shell fuel with a 5-quart purchase of Pennzoil Synthetics. Make it a Pennzoil change.
I hate watching with Ramsey. All he does is yell. They can't hear you, Ramsey. But every time he's come over this year, we've won. And he always brings Bud Light. Little dog won't come out from under the couch. But we're winning. I love you, Ramsey.
Bud Light, for the fans who do whatever it takes.
Now you can watch all of your favorite sports on your laptop, tablet, or smartphone with NBC Sports Live Extra. With access to over 1,000 live events, you won't miss a single moment. NBC Sports Live Extra, the biggest events anywhere, anytime.
The NHL continues on the NBC Sports Network. Tuesday night, Stamkos and the Lightning take on the Sabres. Then it's Wednesday night rivalry as the defending champion Blackhawks face off against the Blues. The NHL continues on the NBC Sports Network.
Still circulating behind the safety car. We're under yellow here on the streets of Houston, Texas for the Shell and Pennzoil Grand Prix of Houston. There's yesterday's hero. That's Simona Di Silvestro. Perhaps today she is the villain. We've got another angle to show you this incident that went down between her, Graham Rahal, and Tristan Vautier, the rookie. Watch this. This is the view from Graham Rahal's car.
Yeah, Graham, he's going to set Vautier up on this next right-hander, and he actually did. I mean, he went under there, and they both gave each other enough room. Unfortunately, Simona hit the curb and really took them both out.
Well, hang on
that's really avoidable contact because she hit that curb and lost control of the car.
She did
and ran into Graham.
She did, Wally, but let me play the role of sympathizer here for Simona a bit. Graham popped, Simona popped. It reminds me actually more of the Power and Dixon incident back at Baltimore, and I think we got to see it from a different angle. But Simona was thinking, I've got to make a move, and I'm going to get Graham to see me in the mirrors. But the problem was Graham was going for a move and expecting Vautier to see him in the mirrors.
Yeah, but
I think it's a chain reaction.
You're going 3 wide into a left-hander.
But she wasn't planning. She was expecting 2 wide.
And we need to tell you that that move is under review from IndyCar race officials. Quick reminder, Wednesday night is rivalry night here on NBC SN. This week, the defending Stanley Cup champion Blackhawks head to St. Louis to battle the Blues. It's Wednesday night rivalry. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern right here on NBC SN. Kevin?
Well, there's obviously concern with the contact about Simona Di Silvestro's car. She radioed in and said, I think it's okay, but the team is still keeping an eye on it. They said they won't know for certain until they restart. Jan?
And Kevin, the situation for Graham Rahal is he made a pit stop and they changed the nose on that car, and so it was only a front wing issue. They don't believe there's any suspension damage, so he also is back running.
Might not be any suspension damage, but there's no way the front toe is in line on that thing after hitting the concrete wall. But these cars are so tough. We've seen that all year. Heavy contact with concrete, and the Dallara is so robust.
We are ready to go racing, but before we do, here's Marty.
And guys, something from Scott Dixon on the radio. He just said something is coming from Helio Castroneves' car. He took a closer look and he said oil is coming out of Helio Castroneves' gearbox. He said my car is covered in oil. We'll have to watch that. The championship leader possibly with a problem.
Well, remember what happened yesterday. It was that gear cluster problem. Green flag flies. Castroneves is your leader. Dixon, Pagano, Wilson, Power, Andretti, and Ryan Hunter-Ray ahead of his teammate James Hinchcliffe, looking to rebound today. Boy, this field is spread way out.
Now, if you're Dixon, obviously if you got a better car, you're going to try to get around him because you don't want oil all over your visor. But you're also sitting there saying, hey, if there's that much oil coming out, his time is limited.
Exactly.
So he doesn't have to push. But like I said, oil on your visor means you can't see.
And
so
we just heard Scott Dixon say oil everywhere, man. He is going crazy right now because he can't get too close. He's probably having a hard time seeing, and there's a good chance he's fighting traction issues with oil coming onto the track. By the way, just to follow up, I think you won that argument, Wally. Simona Di Silvestro, we understand, was ordered to make a drive-through penalty for avoidable contact.
Well, it was a nice try,
The big story still surrounds Helio Castroneves. He lost 41 points in his championship lead yesterday. And there, look, fluid on the lens of Simon Pagano's car.
It's hard to tell if that's water or oil, but if he's getting it, then it really is spraying out the back of that car.
Justin Wilson working on a move on him. Look at this, thinks about it, down into turn 2. And all of a sudden, Will Power has arrived on the scene.
What was that? Something blew off Pagano's car.
I believe that was a piece of debris on the track that actually picked up the front of Simon's wing and then flung off as he raced by.
Gotcha.
For those of you just turning on, Scott Dixon sitting second. Power on the inside of Wilson. That was a great move.
Yep.
This is the penalty being served by Simona Di Silvestro. But the story is Castroneves has oil leaking from his car while in the lead. And Dixon is growing furious and frustrated.
And Dixon wants by because of that. Like I said, that oil is probably, like Townsend said, is getting all over your tires. It's getting on your visor. So, yeah.
Oil. Yeah, we've told him, Scott. We have told him.
I mean, he can be saying that all he wants, but unless the officials see clear signs of smoke or oil.
Do you see that? He just tore off one of his tear-offs already. We're only a few laps into this thing.
And that was Helio Castroneves who ran over that piece of debris, and then Simon Pagano picked it up.
You know what? That's off of his car.
It certainly looks that way.
He hit that bump so hard it broke something off of his car.
So far, so good for Helio, though.
What Scott Dixon has to do here is, of course, he's got to finish the race. He needs the points, but in order to force Castroneves to a mistake, it might be better for him to just fill the mirrors. Look at Will Power up on the inside of Pagano. Great pass. Here comes Wilson.
In 2 laps. That was nice.
Just going to say, Dixon is probably better to fill the mirrors of Castroneves right now, trying to force a mistake and force Castroneves further back in the field than just trying to gain one position.
Check this out, Simon Pagano and Ryan Hunter-Ray on the inside of Wilson. Good heads-up driving from Justin Wilson. He saw RHR coming in the DHL Chevy and gave him some room.
I've raced wheel-to-wheel with Justin Wilson. Nobody has better spatial awareness without being able to see the object in the mirror than Justin Wilson. That was a great job of leaving just enough room to avoid contact.
Did you say spatial awareness?
Yeah, in English, that's sort of a geometric kind of sense. Okay. And I'm going to talk myself into a corner now, so let's go back to the race.
How about the man in 3rd place? Marty Power is looking good.
Townsend, you're saying a bunch of words Wally has never heard before, so just give it a rest. But Will Power promised me before he got in the car, we had the best car in this race yesterday. He said we almost led the most laps, got caught out by a caution. I'm going to be aggressive. Look how quick he is, though. He started back in 8th today, already up in 3rd and challenging Dixon for 2nd.
Well, he really feels he should have won yesterday's race. He got caught out on pit stop strategy and that yellow. He and Dixon were going at it at the front, and we've just had word from race control that they have said we now see oil coming from the 3.
I thought I just saw some smoke come off the back of that.
There's smoke coming from the 3, but there's smoke coming from the 12. It's coming out the ears of Will Power because he's flying. And don't forget the role that Will Power's played in this championship battle, both at Sonoma and at Baltimore. So this is going to be fascinating.
It is Penske, Ganassi, Penske. 1, 2, 3. Pagano still runs 4th. Justin Wilson, Hunter-Ray. Hinchcliffe is in the mix. So too is Tony Kanaan after a frustrating day yesterday.
Well, if there's oil coming out, like Dixon says, he's not. Castroneves is not long for this race. And I'm telling you, the thing is starting to smoke more and more.
Oh, and look at the rear. The entire rear wing looks almost loose there, doesn't it?
Yeah. Look at that. The whole back section.
His whole diffuser looks like he's lost there's 4 bolts that go in and hold that thing. That whole thing looks
See the
loose.
smoke coming out?
More smoke.
Yeah.
More
Yeah.
smoke.
History.
That's the back of the gearbox.
Yep.
It's almost like the whole rear cover's coming off.
Yeah.
He's done. He's done.
Oh.
Castro Neves is done.
Unbelievable.
Can you believe what we have seen this weekend in Texas? Coming here with a 49-point championship lead.
What do you got, Elio? What do you got?
Watch out, guys.
And he's out of power.
Yeah, you should be waving the yellow, not the green.
Wow.
Wrong flag.
Wow, this is huge.
Pull it out of the way. Pull it out of the way.
Castro Neves has seen his championship chances.
And if he can make it back to pit lane, Lee, they could fix this thing and still get him out to get some points. I just don't know if he can get back.
Well, even if they fix it, Townsend, he's going to lose so many laps on this deal.
But every point counts in this deal.
But I'm just saying, these guys are...
He is stuck on track. They will probably go to full course yellow, I would imagine.
And those Penske boys on that Shell Pennzoil Chevy yesterday worked tirelessly to fix that gear cluster, get Elio back out. And this is
shaking his head like, I cannot believe.
And there's the full course yellow.
I was running third. It's
But you're right. It looks like the whole rear section of that car came loose, like you said, where the boxes.
Yeah, and of course, once you pull that off, it's oil sitting in a reservoir for the gearbox.
Yep.
Second yellow.
Vibration before that. Not sure what it was, but I did feel vibration.
And that is the voice of a dejected man who has led this championship for the majority of the year. He came to Texas with a 49-point lead. It was trimmed to 8 yesterday. And Roger Penske's man has now seen his chances slide away.
Let's listen in here to see on board what might have happened here. Let's listen.
There we go. We need that vibration. That's it.
And he's cycling the ignition switch. He's trying anything to get this thing to refire. And I'm just stunned, guys. I mean, the deja vu for the Penske team in the championship battle through Briscoe, through Will Power, and now with Castro Neves. I mean, just, it takes your breath away.
Well, look at the whole wing, the whole side of the wing off of Marco's car. So the whole side plate's gone.
Tough start to this race for Marco Andretti after being deemed to have jumped the start, and he was penalised for that. Simona Di Silvestro also penalised for avoidable contact early in the race. But the big story, the headline story, is the massive point swing that has occurred here in Texas this weekend involving that man there, Elio Castro Neves, and Scott Dixon. Roger Penske cannot believe what he is seeing. And these guys just gutted.
Maybe you've already heard what they're saying about the Nissan Altima. And we have to admit that it's all true. But don't just take their word for it. Check it out for yourself. The award-winning Nissan Altima. Nissan. Innovation that excites. Now get a $179 per month lease on the 2013 Nissan Altima.
Live in-car cameras. 4-in-1 Mosaic. Having your heart race as fast as theirs.
Here we go. Hey, good for green.
That's powerful. Download IndyCar 13 now, only from Verizon.
Introducing a car company that's never made a single car. We took the power of a 9-year-old V8 and gave it the impressive handling of Firestone's destination tire. Now, moms agree. Every milk run feels like a victory lap. So whatever you drive a Firestone.
While we're in the break, Helio Castroneves was retrieved and returned to his pit box. The captain, Roger Penske, knows what success is all about in racing and in business. But this one, for as many years as he's been in the sport, is a tough one to swallow. Jan?
And I can tell you the crew just gave the international sign by the hand underneath the neck that this thing is terminal. They said, it looks to me like this is not going to be a gear cluster. This is something... Listening on the radio. But whatever they saw was broken. It is over for Castroneves for the moment.
The three-time Indy 500 champ has never won an IndyCar Series title. He was so close, and he wanted to do it so desperately. And it's just received a massive dent this weekend. Qualified 21st yesterday, tried to fight his way through the field, was caught up in a couple of incidents, had that gearbox issue, ended up finishing 18th. Today, he got a little get-out-of-jail-free card by qualifying being cancelled, and he was put on pole position as per entrance points. That was his shot in the arm. He made a good, clean start and led the race. It was the first time he'd led laps since Toronto, since the last doubleheader in the second race there. It was all going to plan for Helio to rebound and defend that 8-point lead. And as quick as you like, it's just gone away, Jan.
The final word, it was a gearbox housing has broken. So the actual physical housing of the gearbox has cracked and broken. No way you can fix that on pit road.
On a weekend where the title sponsor for this event, Shell and Pennzoil, had their man, had their car, wanted him to be the hero, it's all gone away. We're back to racing. Dixon, Power, Pagenaud, Wilson and Hunter Ray. Hunter Ray determined to erase the bad memories of yesterday when he had just a bizarre issue happen with his fuel flap staying open, spreading gas all over the car, over the back of the car. It ignited and it just burned all the wiring out, and then the fire went out all by itself, but it terminated his race. He wants to show how strong he was driving yesterday.
No question. You know, that's one of those things. We've had a long break since the last IndyCar race. It can be something as simple as the fuel bucket that, you know, gets a little moisture, maybe a little oxidation gets held up in there. But everybody is on the charge right now on this restart.
Keep an eye out for that chrome and red car from Dragon Racing. There it is, this Sebastian Bourdais. We saw how strong he was yesterday. Had a good top 10 result. Could have been even better than the 8th that he finished with. Two Andretti Autosport cars there to watch, the yellow and the pink. Ryan Hunter-Ray, the defending series champion, and James Hinchcliffe in the GoDaddy machine.
Yeah, we never got a chance to see how good Hinchcliffe was yesterday because he didn't go very far. But right now, he's sitting in 6th spot there.
We talk about the championship battle. Let's not forget about Simon Pagenaud. Comes into this weekend third in points. Now closing a huge gap on Castroneves with every lap he runs.
He is a serious title contender. And as we mentioned yesterday, here's Hinchcliffe on his teammate. RHR made life difficult for the Canadian earlier in this race at that very corner, and Hinchcliffe trying his luck that time to no avail. Kevin?
Well, the day has gone from bad to worse for Marco Andretti. Penalized for jumping the start, goes to the back. He came into pit under caution, came back out, had to come in 2 laps later. You see the rear wing there. They hit a piece of debris. He didn't make contact with another car. Under caution, debris did that much damage.
We talked about the concrete jungle, man. This place is hard on equipment. We'll have to see who can survive the full 90 laps today.
That's what it is. It's about survival, isn't it? The weather was the grueling aspect yesterday. Today, it's just the track, the time, and the laps. And we're already verging on that 20-lap margin. Who's the biggest mover in this race? It's the Italian sensation, Luca Filippi. He's made up 11 positions on his starting spot. There's our race leader there second. Dixon over Power over Pagenaud. Fourth is Wilson. Hunter Ray is in the top 5. Kanaan, Kimball. And there is Helio Castroneves. He does not want to take his helmet off yet. He's not quite ready to talk. He's chatting with Jan off camera, obviously. He just wants to go to a spot where he can get his thoughts together.
I mean, it's devastating. I mean, you've been in command of this championship for most of the year, and you come into one weekend and you lose everything that you've worked for all year, and you have 2 races left, this today and one more at this one at Fontana.
And don't forget that, you know, what's remarkable about Castroneves this season is his worst finish has been 13th all year. He's run every lap up until this weekend. Statistically, you'd look at it and say, no way could this guy have a double disaster. You know, just based on statistics, he's done nothing wrong.
Hey, Jan, what did Castroneves have to say to you?
Well, what he asked is he asked if he could have a few minutes, and he said it very emotionally. He knew that we wanted to talk to him. We wanted to get a reaction. He said, Jan, I just need about 5 minutes, and I want to get back to the garage to check on the car. Obviously, he's dealing with big emotions at the moment.
Everything was going to plan for the likable Brazilian. Before yesterday, as Townsend mentioned, he'd completed 100% of the laps, but it's all gone away. This man is the star of the show. He could have been on the podium yesterday. This is Italian Luca Filippi driving Brian Herter's team, the Barracuda racing car. He was following the same strategy as Will Power. They both got hoodwinked by the yellow, and it put them back. Power beat him out of pit lane, and then Filippi beat Power on track to get a top 10 result.
Yeah, I think they regret following that strategy because they were trying to steal points away from Dixon.
There we see.
And I don't think they realized that.
We see Newgarden going around Bourdais for position. It took Luca Filippi all of one test session in Mid-Ohio to impress Brian Herta. They absolutely love this guy. He is really impressive.
Think about the biggest story involving Luca Filippi. The leaders circle in IndyCar racing. The top 22 get $1 million plus for the following season. That is a big portion of a lot of these teams' annual budgets. Guess where Brian Herta Autosport is with the 98? They're 23rd. And they're chasing Tristan Vautier. Vautier is not having a terrific day at the moment, and Filippi is the man on the move. That could be the difference between Brian Herta Autosport maybe being here or not being here next year.
Oh, look at Hinch going up the inside of Wilson. And don't forget, for Brian Herta Autosport, they've got J.R. Hildebrand coming back to Fontana, where he had an incredible run going last year. So they're putting everything on the table to secure that coveted leader circle spot.
Tony Kanaan having an encouraging run today in the Hydroxy Cup machine after frustrating yesterday. TK ended up finishing way down the order in 21st after not being able to finish the race. Hinchcliffe's enjoying some time on the city streets of Houston because he didn't get anywhere yesterday after that malfunction on the line when he got clouded by Ed Carpenter. We are racing lap 21 of this 90-lap race. It's a doubleheader weekend, the Shell and Pennzoil Grand Prix of Houston. And for those of you turning on to our live coverage here on NBCSN, the big story is Dixon's leading while his title rival, Helio Castroneves, is out. Sunday night is football night, and tonight San Francisco hosts America's Game of the Week as J.J. Watt and the Houston Texans take on the 49ers. Bob Costas hosts Football Night in America. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, only on NBC. Both teams are at 2-2 on the season as we stand, and there is the home. It's unbelievable. If you've never seen that in the flesh, that Reliance Stadium is monstrous. Home of the Texans. Quick little stat here for you, comparing J.J. Watt and Simona Di Silvestro as far as how they go at their maximum.
Yeah, working at 10/10. Look at Simona, 63 green flag laps yesterday, so she's working at 10/10 for an hour and 4 minutes. J.J. Swat, the beast, knocking down those passes. He's only working at 100% for 7.5 minutes during an average game. Pretty fascinating statistic. Any of you wonder if this is an athletic exercise? You bet. Very heavy steering loads, pounding across the curbs. You are gutted at the end of one of these things.
You know, yesterday, Pagano's car was not very good at the beginning of the race, but his car came on really, really, really strong once he got about 10 or 15 laps on it. Marty, you said they made some changes, but boy, they got to be looking to going back the other way because he is holding these guys up as Hunter Ray makes the pass.
Goes for the pass, and he might lose more. Wally, I was going to say, how wide can you make an Indy car? Not wide enough for Simon Pagano right now. He is screaming loose inside that car. You see Justin Wilson looking on the inside as well. He said the car just has completely gone away in the last 3 or 4 laps. Rob Edwards told him on the radio, dude, I need 3 more laps. Give me 3 more laps, and then we can bring you in for a pit stop. All of these leaders going to pit very soon.
How much damage will be done in the next 3 laps? So that's the question as Hinchcliffe almost gets into the back of Wilson, and Wilson almost into the back of Simon Pagenaud. The Frenchman is just hanging on.
We're trying to get you in as soon as we can.
Hinchcliffe on the inside of Wilson. What a move.
Great move. Absolutely surprised Justin. He's going to lose another spot to Tony Kanaan.
And all of this is because of Pagenaud holding these guys up.
And look at RHR. He's disappeared, Wally. Hunter Ray's just taken off.
This is the hardest thing to do as a racing driver. As we see Philippe's the first guy in the pit lane, is to hang on with a car that is just evil. It wants to spin out in every corner, and you're desperately hanging on to get to your fuel window and get new tires on.
This is the man who just stormed his way through the field, making up 11 positions before this initial stop. Franchitti is in as well.
Interesting to see Franchitti come off of reds and put the softer red tires back on, while Philippi opted for the harder black compound tires. So be interested to see how that plays out in terms of durability.
Here comes the Barracuda Racing Car.
Yesterday, it didn't. I thought the same thing counting yesterday's race. But I'll tell you what, both the tires performed really, really well yesterday.
Bourdais on the inside of Kanaan, and Kimball tried to do it as well. Boy, that was a sharp move from Bourdais, the man who won twice here on this Reliant Park Stadium circuit back in 2006-2007. Newgarden is in the mix as well. He and Bourdais were going at it earlier. Bourdais won the better of that battle. Here comes Kimball to the pits.
Been a great season for Charlie Kimball. Obviously his first win. He comes on to pit lane here. Let's see what he puts on for tire compound.
Newgarden's coming with him as well.
3, 2, 1, hit your mark.
And Joseph had made a nice move into the top 10, Lee, and their car pretty good. He said, I don't want any changes with it. They reminded him if you're going to change the primary tires, adjust the brake bias. Charlie Kimball leaving pit road. Joseph Newgarden installs it a little bit, leaving pit road under green flag stops.
Meanwhile, the blue car on the right-hand side is just still hanging on, only just at Simon Pagenaud in the HP entry. He's got his hands full. The car handling has gone away from him. He's been swamped by his competitors, and they've just driven away. That's Rob Edwards saying pit, and he's saying thank you. I've been waiting to hear those words. He'll go to the left-hand side of the track coming up.
One thing Hintz just got to be careful of is, I was just going to say, when Pagenaud pulls off, not to get into the back of him and be caught out by surprise. But no issues there. Hinch is on his way. His lap time should speed up very quickly.
These guys that were behind Pagenaud lost a lot of ground to the guys that they were running with earlier.
5, 4, 3, 2.
And you guys said it right. You heard Rob Edwards count him into the pit stall. Just a handful at the end of that run for Simon Pagenaud. He almost said about time when they decided to pit. You saw the wing change, also air pressure changes, and primary sticker tires going on for Simon Pagenaud, who's happy to have 4 new tires.
You're not missing anything up front. It is still Scott Dixon leading Penske's willpower by 1.3 seconds. And then there is a massive margin back to Hunter Ray, who's in third. He's some 10 seconds in arrears. The big story today is the championship, or his hopes, are dwindling away. That is Elio Castro Neves. He's with Jan.
It is. He's back in the garage here. You may be able to see behind Elio. The whole team is working frantically to change that gearbox casing. Elio, what was the first time you knew something was wrong?
That was probably a third or fourth lap. I felt a little vibration on behind every time I was shifting gears, and my mind was just trying to stay away and like not thinking on the bad thing. Trying to just stay smooth as possible, especially with the Scott behind. I just like, okay, you know what? There's not a point to trying to go aggressive with the equipment. It's still a long race to go, and all of a sudden I went to third gear in the back straight, and it just went absolutely nothing. So very disappointed for the Shelpin-Zoe boys. They did a hell of a job, especially for the event as well. I mean, I'm very upset, but gotta just thinking about Fontana now.
And you may see on the other side of the screen, Luca Filippi has gone into the tires. There's a full course caution. And I'll ask you before we let you go, you wanted time to collect your emotions. You know now what's happened this weekend with the point swing. How do you move forward?
The good news is we had a test at the AAA circuit, and it was extremely good. So the only thing I can tell you guys, it's going to be a heck of a race.
Thank you, Elio. Marty?
Pit stops happening for the leaders. You see Scott Dixon in the very first pit stall. They're going to put on primary tires. Will Power right behind him. A race off pit road to see who will lead the lead. It will be Scott Dixon that holds the lead. Very tight off pit road, but Dixon does hold serve.
I was looking at that patch of water that Dixon had to drive through. But he just gets back out.
Have we seen Dixon and Power race off pit road before this year?
Seems vaguely familiar.
Seems familiar, doesn't it? Good work from both the Ganassi and Penske teams. Kev?
Simona Di Silvestro had some early difficulties, but she is trying to fight back through after she served a drive-through penalty. She comes in 16th, back out cleanly.
Copy, struggle to get into neutral.
That was the voice from Gerald Tyler, her race engineer, and she had some kind of issue finding neutral coming into the pit box. Look at the marbles building up already. I don't know if you can see off in the view there, but the spent rubber coming off these tires is building up very, very quickly. And earlier we saw a shot of Simon Pagenaud getting off into the marbles. I wonder if that's played a role here in Luca Filippi getting off course.
And you'll notice the pink sidewall tyres, they are the primary tyres for all of the Andretti Autosport guys, because James Hinchcliffe with that different livery this weekend. The pink, there it is right there. It is to help raise the awareness of breast cancer research. The month of October is Breast Cancer Research Awareness Month, and all of the Andretti Autosport guys are running those pink wall tyres. Here's the race off the pit road with Scott Dixon versus Will Power. Look how close it was.
And they'll be on the radio telling Scott Dixon, outside, outside, outside. He'll be thinking, I need to be outside because there's water on pit lane.
That was tight. These two guys that were going at it yesterday until a pit stop and a yellow separated them. It's going to be another Dixon Power battle to the end.
The drivers of Quicken Loans. Elio Castroneves, Ryan Newman, Will Power, and Tony Stewart. They are engineered to accelerate, engineered to dominate, engineered with muscle and brains, engineered for victory lane. For a home loan experience that's just as amazing as our drivers, call Quicken Loans, engineered to amaze.
He ignored the naysayers and never compromised. When Thomas Edison threw the switch, it changed everything. Engineering without compromise. This is the Mazda way. And this is the Mazda CX-5. Skyactiv technology makes it lighter yet stronger, earning a top safety pick. And more fuel efficient than any hybrid SUV. This is the uncompromised Mazda CX-5. What do you drive?
For the police, this car is finished. 90,000 hard miles, but I'm hoping for another 300,000. They used Mobil 1 for performance. I use it to keep my cars running like new. I run Mobil 1 in my own car. Guess what I drive?
Keep your engine running like new. Mobil 1. Give me your street circuits, your ovals. Give me your road courses and your cathedrals of speed. Give me drivers who live to put it all on the line and cars unlike any other. Because this is America, and here we race IndyCar.
In 2 weeks on the NBC Sports Network.
As we welcome you back to the streets of Houston for the Shell and Pennzoil Grand Prix of Houston. Quick reminder that you can be a part of Honda's fastest seat in sports sweepstakes by simply going to shophonda.com and signing up. Enter now to win a chance to lead the start of one of these fabulous races in the IZOD two-seater driven by either Indy 500 stars Mario Andretti or Ari Luyendyk. If you've just joined us, the big story centers around Elio Castroneves, the man who has led this championship for the majority of the season. Yesterday, he finished 18th. Today, he suffered gearbox issue. The team are working. They're not giving up, and they're going to try and get Elio back out on track. He is 24th and last at the moment and has lost a massive amount of points to the man leading this race. He's 38 points now behind Scott Dixon, as they are. Can you believe what we have seen here in Texas? Quite extraordinary.
And not a small job, Wally, to replace. I mean, they got to pull the whole gearbox casing off. All the suspension hooks up to the gearbox casing, half shafts, everything. That's a big job. Yeah.
And speaking of gearbox, Ryan Hunter-Reay has radioed in that he also has a gearbox-related issue. In fact, they brought out a gear cluster just in case. So maybe 2 days in a row shifting issues for Ryan Hunter-Reay also.
Two super fast guys at the front. Oh, and Hunter-Reay pulled out a line there. He let his teammate go by, and Justin Wilson as well. He's in trouble.
Yeah,
Hunter Ray is in trouble for the second day in a row.
And it's not a stretch on a racetrack like this, Townsend. The first bumpy as this place is, it's a killer on gearboxes and drivetrain. And we saw a lot of that yesterday.
If it's breaking steel and aluminum, you can imagine how the drivers feel.
Wally, do you center that on the big bump on the main straight? Is that the one that you target?
I think that's the biggest one, for certainly, but this track has got a lot of bumps everywhere. I mean, if you look at these cars, it's speed everywhere. Carpenter spins around. You're shifting, you're downshifting, you're doing all of this stuff on the bumps, and it's really hard on equipment.
I love all the detailed track information when we know full well you were staring at three cheerleaders.
I'm going off of what I'm seeing from here, not when I was taking the lap.
Marty?
And guys, that bumpiness playing a bigger factor today, it appears. And a big wreck for TK, Lee.
Whoa, 2 DNFs in a row. On the weekend where it was confirmed that he's off to become a Chip Ganassi team driver next year, he has had a tough one in Texas. He tells the team that he's okay.
I think this is similar to Vautier's deal, where if you get in the marbles on these corners just a little bit, it just sucks you right into the wall.
And if you look back further in the distance, you can see there is a ton of buildup on the outside of that fast corner. And, we're just guessing at this point, but that could have very well played a factor.
Let's show you what happened to Tony Kanaan, this year's Indy 500 winner. In the KV Racing Technologies Hydroxy Cup machine, this is what happened to TK.
Okay, so he's following Pagenaud here. Going through a fast lap. It's exactly what happened. So he got right up under the back of Pagenaud. He lost the front downforce on the wing, got slightly offline, hit the marbles, and game over.
There's Jimmy Vasser, a man who's won here on the streets of Houston before. That's the co-owner of Tony Kanaan's team. And let's talk more about this man, Ryan Hunter-Reay. Jan, we have seen this DHL Chevy on pit road during the race far too many times this season.
We have, and yesterday, believe it or not, what happened was there was a fire after a fuel stop that burnt the wiring to the shifting. Now they think it's a broken fourth gear. The only way to fix a broken fourth gear is to replace that gear cluster like we saw yesterday. Happened to Castroneves. He'll be here a while.
Ryan told me this morning, I'm not sure how much more of this I can take. In his championship defense season, it's been one to forget. More from Houston when we come back. You're watching the home of open wheel racing, NBCSN.
Inside yours. Keep pushing here, bud. That's turn 4, spotter. Turn 4 is clear.
Streaming 4-in-1 Mosaic.
Inside. Don't push the fast left. Be smart here.
Live pit crew chatter. Riding shotgun from green flag to checkered. That's powerful. Download IndyCar 13 now, only from Verizon.
Your car. It's been your wingman, dining room, and best friend. Baby maker, and baby soother. At Pennzoil, we know it doesn't matter what you do in your car. It only matters what you put in it. That's why Pennzoil is designed to give you unsurpassed engine protection, so you can protect your car and the memories made in it.
Save 50 cents per gallon on Shell fuel with a 5-quart purchase of Pennzoil Synthetics. Make it a Pennzoil change.
When it comes to doing what you love, more is better. That's why we designed the all-new Nissan Versa Note, with more technology to get you into and out of tight spots, and more space so that you always have your favorite stuff. And just for good measure, an incredibly efficient 40 mpg highway, so that when you're doing more, you're spending less. The all-new Nissan Versa Note, your door to more. Now get a $139 per month lease on a 2014 Nissan Versa Note.
Legendary durability, impressive mileage, Firestone tires. Whatever you drive a Firestone.
It's the final days of the buy one, get 3 free sale on a huge selection of suits and sport coats at Joseph A. Bank. That's 4 for the price of 1. Final days, buy one, get 3 free. Only at Joseph A. Bank.
Quick reminder about the Formula One World Championship. It continues Saturday night at 1:30 Eastern. And that is the Japanese Formula One Grand Prix. And a reminder about Circuit of the Americas, our very own US Formula One Grand Prix here in Texas. That is Austin, Texas. if you didn't go, if you weren't one of the 118,000 on race day last year. I couldn't encourage you enough. It is an awesome venue and a great race.
You know, I had a chance to race there just a couple weeks ago in the ALMS. It's a fantastic circuit. And Formula One, especially next year, can't wait to see Kimi Räikkönen back at Ferrari. Should be a blast.
So the work goes on at Andretti Autosport while we are under our 5th full course caution, and that was for a heavy crash by Tony Kanaan. Here is his countryman, Helio Castro Neves' team at Penske, working on the Shell Pennzoil Chevrolet, replacing that gearbox, trying to get him back out on track to salvage whatever points he possibly can.
Just looking at the level of preparation from Team Penske there, not only do they have a spare gearbox, they have the spare gearbox with all of the suspension, the drivetrain, electronics fully mounted to make a potential change like this as quick as possible.
Unfortunately, the 90-lap race, when you lose 30 laps doing it,
I know.
You get them back out there, but it's not much to salvage.
And here we see the sweepers. Unfortunately, Tony Kanaan, the guinea pig for demonstrating the race control where the limit is in terms of marbles on the track.
Guys, I want to take you back to the beginning of the year at St. Petersburg in Florida, where this man here, Scott Dixon, started 20th. He qualified horrible, and he was so frustrated. So was his teammate Dario Franchitti. At the airport that night on the way home after the race, when he drove from 20th to 5th, I saw his manager, former F1 star and sports car star Stefan Johansson. Stefan said to me today, that drive is a champion's drive today. And he said, that's what I love about Scott Dixon. Here we are all those rounds later, 18 rounds later, and this man is in the lead of the championship as they run.
And he's been driving like that forever, meaning unfazed. Unfazed when I raced against him in Indy Lights, unfazed as a champion. And that consistency is what is the hallmark of Scott Dixon. He comes to every race with a game face on.
When you think of Houston and you think of IndyCars, you of course think about Supertex. AJ Foyt, there he is, one of motorsport's greatest ever. And we'll hear from him on the other side of the break.
Lessons. Every racetrack is full of them. Each turn a pop quiz. High or low. Give or go. Today's lesson is the edge. And at 200 miles per hour. Class begins.
I don't drive a race car every day, but when I do, it has to be ready. At the race shop or at home, that means Deltran Battery Tender. Deltran battery tenders don't just charge batteries, they automatically switch to a smart maintenance mode that keeps your battery at its peak charge. With protection from overcharging and easy to understand LED indicators, Deltran battery tenders maintain my most valuable equipment. If you can't start it, you can't drive it.
I hate watching with Ramsey. All he does is yell. They can't hear you, Ramsey. But every time he's come over this year, we've won. And he always brings Bud Light. Little dog won't come out from under the couch. But we're winning. I love you, Ramsey.
Bud Light, for the fans who do whatever it takes.
Wednesday Night Rivalry, Blackhawks, Blues, Wednesday at 7 Eastern on the NBC Sports Network.
Back to Houston, NBCSN's live coverage continues of the Shell and Pennzoil Grand Prix of Houston. Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, Wally Dallenbach, Jan Beekes, Marty Snyder and Kevin Lee. There is Larry Foyt and AJ watching on. Their man Takuma Sato put it on pole for yesterday's first race. And unfortunately, he had a crash yesterday, slightly injured, re-injured his wrist, but he is healthy enough to compete in here. And at the moment, Takuma in the ABC supply car runs 11th at the moment. We want to make a special mention for AJ Foyt too, because he farewelled a dear, dear friend recently, George Bignotti, legendary mechanic, passed away at the age of 97. He and AJ were together for 5 seasons. They won 27 races, including 2 500s and 4 national titles. But 1964 was the special year for AJ and George. They won 10 of the 13 races together, and it's a record almost 50 years later that has not been broken. A 77% winning streak. So AJ farewells his dear friend. And the work goes on at Team Penske to try and get Helio Castroneves back out on this track. Helio's got the hands device and the helmet back on. And with his friend Tony Kanaan out of this race, he can make up laps on Tony and get more points. Hunter Ray is pit bound. He may be able to leapfrog Hunter Ray. Every single point counts. At the moment, the deficit is 38 points to this man, Scott Dixon. The way this championship has chopped and changed this weekend is just staggering.
And on a track with so many issues, I can only imagine what Dixon's going to think when he sees Castroneves back out there 20 laps down.
And he's got Castroneves' teammate right on his gearbox, ready to go racing in Houston. Let's do it again. The end of the 5th full course yellow. Sebastian Saavedra, James Jakes, they are legitimately 3rd and 4th. They are massively off pit sequence compared to everybody else. But these yellows have helped. There was a problem there for Dixon. Yeah. And Power nearly rammed him.
Well, Power got a really good restart. I mean, normally Dixon gets away and he gets 4 or 5 car lengths. But, boy, Power was all over him, and there he goes. There is the pass to the lead.
And Scott Dixon is smart to not challenge too hard. Well, he's coming right back now. He cannot afford to DNF getting caught up in a silly battle with Will Power based on the spread he's got in the points right now.
Is Dixon in trouble? He's taking a while to build the speed. Saavedra is all over him. Bourdais on the inside. 2 positions in the 1 turn.
Oh, boy, he is lucky James Jakes was watching his mirrors. There is no way he'd make that corner if Jakes didn't back off the apex.
How about that? Bourdais is racing in the Dragon machine.
I think these guys have some pickup on their tires. When those sweepers come out and clean the marbles, a lot of that stuff can kind of fall out on the racing line. You pick it up. It takes you, several corners to get your tires cleaned up.
And guess what? When you're leading, you're the first guy through all that stuff.
Exactly.
So Dixon picked a lot of it up. I bet you're right.
Let's ride with Simon Pagenaud on the first flying lap. The Frenchman building back to speed. Is he going to be in the groove? Wow, Vizo thought about it at turn 1 at the sweeper on James Jakes. Down into turn 2. Here he goes. Both boys cut the corner. No advantage gained. They stay in the same positions.
Almost looked like that was choreographed.
I'm going to show you a replay of a pretty spectacular move. Check this out. Watch the chrome and red car to the right of your screen.
And he just dives in on Wilson, but he realizes, whoa, I'm way too hot. Luckily, Jakes leaves room.
New race leader is Will Power in the Verizon Team Penske Chevrolet versus the Honda-powered Target Chip Ganassi racing machine. At Spinner News Point as Hinchcliffe lights it up, trying to get around and put pressure on Saavedra. While the racing and the action goes on, let's hear from TK, Tony Kanaan, out of the race.
Tony, on track, it's just been an awful weekend. What put you out of this one?
It was my mistake, this one. I ran into the marbles there in turn 7 and I couldn't control the car, but we're still having the brake issues that we had yesterday. Not as bad as it was, but Brembo needs to do something about it. It's just not safe. Every time I tried to push it, my pedal was going long, so I was actually backing down a little bit. But what took me out of the race today was not the brakes. I mean, they were bad, but I made a mistake, and I feel bad for the hydroxy cut guys. It's we can manage to finish a race, so we'll move on to Fontana and we go for the big money there.
All right, thank you. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. That's right. He has a bonus available coming up at Fontana for winning 2 of the 3 Triple Crown races. Marty?
Kevin, the battle for the lead still going between Scott Dixon and Will Power as we watch Sebastian Saavedra and these guys battle it out. Here's the battle for the lead, and it was not marbles on Scott Dixon's tires. It was Will Power hitting him twice on the restart. Dixon said he hit me twice right when we started. That's what caused him to lose the lead.
And he is playing the perfect team game right now for his teammate Helio Castroneves. Power has just stolen a heap of points away from Dixon, but this race far from over. Kevin?
Well, communication issues have worked into the favor of Sebastian Saavedra. They wanted him to pit at that last yellow with everyone else, but he's been having radio problems all weekend. He did not hear them, but with the extra yellows, they're back on basically the same sequence of everyone else, just needing one more stop. So Saavedra might get a good result out of this today.
And he needs that too for his team, for Dragon Racing as well. Dixon is now all over Will Power. These two, this battle got taken away from us yesterday, just the way that the yellows fell in regards to the pit stop. It was a massive win for Dixon, and for Power, he was bounced out of the top 10. It was a tough one to swallow when he knew he had the pace to do exactly what he's doing right now.
No question. You know, we talked at the beginning of the race about Dixon's confidence in the setup that the Ganassi team has developed specifically for these street circuits. I'm seeing a guy right here in Scott Dixon that looks incredibly confident in his package, in his car, his setup, and the way he's driving it suggests he's the man to beat today.
Much better day for James Hinchcliffe in the GoDaddy machine, running 4th at the moment, Jan.
Yes, as you say, Lee, what a difference that day makes for James Hinchcliffe yesterday, not even getting off of the start. They made those adjustments to the car for the standing start. Obviously, now he had a good getaway. He is on a good pit strategy. You heard Kevin talk about the situation for Saavedra. He does only have one more stop, but he is on a different pit cycle, meaning he has a lot more time on those tires. This is an opportunity for Hinchcliffe to pounce. It's the first time he's looked racy all weekend, now gaining confidence.
Boy, you're right, though, Jan. If this thing stays green, Saavedra's sitting in an excellent position.
He is, but if those tires continue to go off, Wally, you know, we've seen a lot of mistakes out of Saavedra this year, and as we talked about earlier with Pagenaud, it's just like Pagenaud. He's got a field full of black tire drivers behind him. He's got to avoid a big mistake, or else that whole strategy is gone.
Saavedra has only had 2 top 10s this year, and one of them was most recently on the streets of Baltimore. We haven't seen him run this high before, so this is encouraging for the young driver in the Dragon Racing machine.
Don't forget yesterday, this position swapped because of pit lane.
Sure.
So when we get down to making these pit stops, it's going to be interesting to see how these guys play it.
There's a Penske car leading. There's a Penske car about to re-enter the track. Castro Neves is back to try and grab as many points as he can.
Welcome back to part 2 of the Houston Grand Prix as we see Scott Dixon and Will Power battling it out. We'll take you Shell and Pennzoil through the field. Will is up front in familiar position. We've seen him leading midway through a race several times this year. He told me that's not been the problem. We've had the speed. We haven't executed at the end of races. That's what we need to do today to finally finish one off to get a second win of the year. Behind him, Scott Dixon trying to get that lead back, trying to gain more championship points. But they told him on the last stop, Scott, we've noticed the car bottoming out much more today than it was yesterday. Be careful of those bumps, Kevin.
Well, Sebastian Saavedra has come all the way from 24th through 3rd. His last pit stop was on lap number 12, so he's going to need to come in fairly soon, but he's back on sequence with everyone else. He's had a pretty good car all weekend. Jan?
And James Hinchcliffe and their team know that Saavedra is going to pit shortly, so they've told him, just mind your P's and Q's. They know that Bourdais is closing in behind, but they said, we know Saavedra's in, just hang with it.
And Sebastian Bourdais was one of those we were watching coming into the weekend, not only because he's been on the podium for the last 3 street races, because he had won the only 2 Champ Car races on this circuit. Car was good yesterday. He felt like they were very much disadvantaged by the pits being closed under a yellow. Car obviously good again today.
Kevin, this is becoming a familiar sight once again. Justin Wilson solidly in the top 10, running in 6th right now. He's on the same sequence as Dixon and Power, so he'll pit at about lap 60 or so. He was a little frustrated with lap traffic earlier, but this team has been doing so well. 3 straight top 4 finishes. Jan?
And for James Jakes, he is on a very similar strategy to Sebastian Saavedra. So he only has one more stop for fuel, but he has the same situation, a lot more laps on the tires. He's trying to get everything he can, but shortly he'll be on pit road.
EJ Viso was strong yesterday, but still dealt with braking issues. Ran as high as 4th, top 8 most of the day before finishing 9th. Good car again today for Viso with an opportunity for maybe a top 5, Marty.
Well, Kevin, the 3rd player in our championship game is Sebastian Bourdais back there in the 9th. Simon Pagenaud back there in the 9th position. The car lost so much track position in that first run, they haven't been able to catch up any bit. So they're back in 9th, struggling to get back up through the field. Although the car much better, Jan.
And of course, Takuma Sato had to go to the back of the field after he had trouble on the initial start. You'll see James Jakes peel into pit road. I can tell you for Sato, the reason on that start, he did not find the right pit box as you guys surmised.
James Jakes in the Acorn Stairlifts car coming in. He and Saavedra on the same strategy.
Yeah, now this is going to be... Lee, this will be about 40 laps to go. I'm not sure they could make that 40 laps without some yellow, so they might need some help here to make it to the end.
Well, if yesterday was any indication, we may have another couple of yellows still to come. 5 for 14 laps is what we've had at the moment. So Saavedra, Jakes finally get that pit stop done. Back at the front, Power, Dixon, Penske, Ganassi. And this is so important that Will Power is ahead of Scott Dixon. Remember we told you that Helio Castro-Neves, because of that gearbox issue, dropped to be 38 points behind. When Power made the move, that took another 10 points away from Scott Dixon. The margin's now down to 28. So with Castro-Neves heading to Fontana, that is not as bad as what it sounds.
If there's one thing I'm going to remember about the 2013 season, it's been the ability for the Ganassi team to match what used to be dominant walk-away performances from Will Power on street circuits. We're looking at a situation now. Dixon is matching him corner for corner, brake zone for brake zone, and it's really going to come down to the last few laps, I think, today.
Sweep through 5, the run up to 6. And we're into the second half of this doubleheader weekend in Houston. It's the last street course race of the year. We finish off on an oval in Fontana. The question begs, who's going to get this one?
Live in-car cameras. 4-in-1 Mosaic. Having your heart raced as fast as theirs.
Hey, good for green.
That's powerful. Download IndyCar 13 now, only from Verizon.
The scientists at Shell have created Shell V-Power Premium Gasoline, which actively cleans for better performance, helping make the roads more exciting to drive. Choose Shell V-Power Premium Gasoline, performance that excites. Shell is a proud sponsor of the Shell and Pennzoil Grand Prix of Houston.
Legendary durability, impressive mileage, Firestone tires. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone.
Maybe you've already heard what they're saying about the Nissan Altima. And we have to admit that it's all true. But don't just take their word for it. Check it out for yourself. The award-winning Nissan Altima. Nissan, innovation that excites. Now get a $179 per month lease on the 2013 Nissan Altima.
It's the final days of the buy one, get 3 free sale on a huge selection of suits and sport coats at Joseph A. Bank. That's 4 for the price of 1. Final days, buy one, get 3 free. Only at Joseph A. Bank.
At the conclusion of today's 90-lap race, there is just one event left on the 2013 IZOD IndyCar Series schedule, and that is at Auto Club Speedway, Fontana, in 2 weeks' time. We'll be in California to wrap this thing up. And who will it be? Will it be Scott Dixon? Will it be Helio Castro-Neves? Will it be Simon Pagenaud? Pagenaud's hopes are drifting away here in this race right now. He's running 7th, and that's not enough for the Frenchman. So it's going to come down to 2 yet again for the 8th year in a row. The title will be decided on the final day of competition in the year. There's Simon right there in the HP entry for Schmidt Hamilton Motorsports.
Pagenaud just doesn't look like he's getting the drive off the corners. The car looks like he's getting in really well as far as under braking. But I know he was complaining about loose earlier, but just looking at it, it still doesn't look like he's getting off the corners that well.
On board there with Super Chuck. Charlie Kimmel's given a really hard time to Takuma Sato, looking up the inside, sticking his nose everywhere, and nobody's harder to pass than Takuma Sato on a street circuit.
I think Sato's done a really nice job today. Remember, he's driving slightly injured. He tweaked his wrist yesterday when he crashed at turn 3 and went into the tyre bundle. Just the wheel ripped in his hand, and he went and got checks on that. He decided that he was going to drive today. That's last year's Fontana winner in the Fuzzies entry, Ed Carpenter. He's pits, serviced, and sent.
Just want to talk about Fontana. You know, that race used to be a pack race, easy, flat, big packs going together. It's such an unpredictable race now. The drivers are on the edge of their seats, just hanging on the whole race. It really bodes well for an awesome championship finish.
Ryan Hunter-Reay has had the DHL Chevy fixed, Wally, but he's down in 22nd position. after spelling an elongated period of time on pit road.
I was just going to say, remember last year at Fontana, things went, as far as the championship goes, anything can happen in that last race, as we saw at Fontana last year.
And we've seen that underscored here this weekend with the massive swing in the favor of Scott Dixon over Helio Castro-Neves. It's still 1 second separating the top 2 drivers in this field. Power over Dixon. Hinchcliffe is 3rd, Wilson 4th, Bourdais 5th, Viso is 6th, Pagenaud 7th, Sato, Kimball and Conway in the top 10. Then we pick up Servia, Newgarden. Dario Franchitti has had a very quiet weekend in that Ganassi machine. Simona Di Silvestro, yesterday's podium place getter, back in 14th place. And then Marco Andretti right here on screen. Vautier is the next one behind him in the order in 16th. And then Saavedra and Jakes, after they pitted recently, they're down in 18th and 19th with 35 to go in Houston.
On board with Simon Pagenaud. And we're going to watch. Whoa, who's that? That's Takuma Sato right up the inside.
You're clear, you're clear.
No attack, no chance.
What I've been impressed about this racetrack, guys, is that you're able to do that. It's tough to do that on a lot of street courses because there's not enough room. The track is not wide enough, and we've seen some great side-by-side action. Guys poking their noses in and still making it through the corner, even though there's been a little bit of contact.
This has been one of the most gut-wrenching race weekends for Helio Castro-Neves in his illustrious career. Let's show you what has happened to the Brazilian. We go back to yesterday. Listen. And that's when he communicated to the team, I can't shift, no shift. I'm stuck in 3rd. They had to go to the back of the car. They had to replace a gear cluster. They got him back out, and he got an 18th place finish. He hits the big bump at turn 1 there. You saw the smoke fly, parts of the car. There was oil coming out of the back of that Shell Pennzoil machine, and he was forced to come to a halt and got towed back in. The Penske boys did an amazing job to replace the entire gearbox, and Helio's face pretty much says it all. He loses the lead of the championship for the first time in 10 races. And now he's back out there just lapping and trying to make up. If he can get past Tony Kanaan, who has completed some 14 laps more than he has, he'll pick up another point. If his teammate Will Power can stay ahead of Scott Dixon, that helps him in his championship chases. They round up Luca Filippi.
And Luca Filippi trying to break deep enough to keep his lap time maintained, but he's 2 laps down at this point. Does a smart thing to stay out of the way of both Power and Dixon charging through.
And to ask you, Wally, what did you make about the Filippi incident earlier? He just kind of outbraked himself and softly nudged it into the tyre barrier?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because, like you were saying, they were trying to get that 22nd spot, and that may make all the difference right now for those guys next year.
Joseph Newgarden has made his way up to 13th. Lee, the car's pretty good, and this is what we saw a lot of teams do yesterday. You see the front wing change for him. They hit it early in their window, trying to get a clean racetrack. That's the theory now. Hit early, see if we can get some clean racetrack and make up some track position.
The youngster from Nashville, Tennessee is in a real sweet spot at the moment. He finished on the podium, a career high in Baltimore, and then yesterday a really gutsy drive to work his way into the top 5. He was impressive yesterday. 32 to go in Houston. Power, Dixon. Who do you like?
I hate watching with Ramsey. All he does is yell. They can't hear you, Ramsey. But every time he's come over this year, we've won. And he always brings Bud Light. Little dog won't come out from under the couch. But we're winning. I love you, Ramsey.
Bud Light, for the fans who do whatever it takes.
For the police, this car is finished. 90,000 hard miles. But I'm hoping for another 300,000. They used Mobil 1 for performance. I use it to keep my cars running like new. I run Mobil 1 in my own car. Guess what I drive?
Keep your engine running like new. Mobil 1.
Every inch, every minute, every second, we chip away, making the colors of earth and sunset skies into rich interior accents, or putting the beauty of a forest in the palm of your hands. It will take you to another place, wherever you happen to be. This is the new 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee. It is the best of what we're made of. Well-qualified lessees can lease the 2014 Grand Cherokee Laredo 4x4 for $359 a month.
IndyCar is more than exciting. It's a way to expose young fans to real-world experiences in science, technology, engineering, and math. At the track and in the classroom, IndyCar offers the IndyCar Future of Fast STEM education program, using the world of IndyCar to engage students with interactive, hands-on experiences and in-classroom learning, because they are the future of fast. Go to IndyCar.com/Future of Fast for more information.
Back in Houston, and this grind at the front goes on. Will Power, Scott Dixon, they are 9 seconds clear of the next closest competitor, who is James Hinchcliffe on the GoDaddy machine for Andretti Autosport. Dixon led 29 laps early in this race. Will Power has just notched up his 21st lap in the lead. It's all about trying to take points away from Dixon. Here's Simona.
Final stop for Simona Di Silvestro, who has fought her way back from a penalty and other issues, and she is going to weave around Tristan Fautier. That's a close one. So Fautier may lift a little bit to let her go through. Di Silvestro trying to get another top 10.
And Ed Carpenter just in that runoff area. Can he engage reverse? Can he flick spin himself? We've seen the guys rescue, and the top two are in.
On the light.
There's no difference yesterday.
Around the HP guys.
And Lee, both of the leaders deciding to pit last second. Will Power hits his stall. You can see right in front of him Scott Dixon hitting his stall. Neither driver wants any changes. Both of them going with primary tires. Will Power will easily win this race off Arrow to slow stop for Dixon and the target crew.
Yesterday, Power stretched it for a bonus lap, an additional lap over Dixon, but they mirror each other today. It's a straightforward fight with 29 to go.
Just a slight hiccup on the right rear tire change at Dixon's car, and that was the difference.
Oriol Servia makes his final stop as we see Ed Carpenter's car stalled there. They had the option of the sticker, Firestone Reds, as we watch Charlie Kimball pit and exit. They went for the blacks, though. Good run for Oriol Servia. The car gets better the longer the stint goes.
And we're under yellow again for the sixth time. Sixth yellow of the day as Graham Rahal is in the blue machine. So another yellow. This is to rescue the stranded Ed Carpenter, as Andretti and Rahal race each other off pit road. This is where it's at. Time to catch their breaths, and they'll pick up the safety car and have time just to reflect on what's gone down thus far.
I was surprised, actually. I was thinking that Dixon's strategy there on that last stint was saving fuel so he could go a lap longer. But I think he might have been able to, because his fuel load was so short there. They pulled the fuel pretty quick, but he had an issue on the right rear tire. Watch right here, right rear tire changer for Dixon. He gets it on fine. He just had an issue fitting the wheel on the hub.
You know what I think, though, Townsend? I think he knew that Carpenter was sitting there, and they were going to throw a caution, and that's why they both dove in.
Yeah, great point.
Because it was a yellow that separated them yesterday. Dixon pitted, and Power did not. Saavedra has had an encouraging day today. The 23-year-old Colombian, driving for Jay Penske's Dragon Racing, has been as high as third in this race, working on a little bit of different strategy, but he's been driving very well. And here is the reason for this yellow. The Holmatro safety crew will have to go and rescue Ed Carpenter, and then we'll get going again. This will be some relief for James Hinchcliffe. He'll be able to get a little bit closer to Scott Dixon and Will Power. We'll get Ed rescued and come back. Michelle and Pennzoil Grand Prix of Houston continues.
A way to see the unseen, leading to radar, forever providing early warnings and safer journeys. The conviction to create a safer journey is the Mazda way. The Mazda 6 uses radar, lasers, and sensors to detect objects and even apply the brakes for you. Introducing the modern sports sedan, the Mazda 6. What do you drive?
Where's Mrs. Davis?
She took an early spring break thanks to her double miles from the Capital One Venture card. Now, what was Mrs. Davis teaching?
Spelling.
That's not a subject, right? I mean, spell check, that's a program.
Algebra?
Okay. versus A and B are flying to the Bahamas. How fast will they get there?
Don't you need distance rated?
No. All it takes is double miles. Yeah.
Get away fast with unlimited double miles from the Capital One Venture Card.
You're the world's best teacher.
This is so unexpected. What's in your wallet?
If you think all batteries are the same, consider this. When the storms are this powerful, the batteries had better be powerful too. Introducing Duracell Quantum. Only Duracell Quantum has a high-density core, and that means more fuel, more power, more performance than the next leading brand. So whether you're out on the front lines or you're back home, now you have the power. New Duracell Quantum. Trusted everywhere.
Goodyear knows there are times when you need to get out at a moment's notice. When a map can't tell you where you need to go. And you need to get there on-road or off. That's why everything we learn making tires for expert drivers inspires what we roll into the new Goodyear Wrangler with Kevlar. Goodyear, more driven.
Back in Houston, where we are under our 6th full course caution in this race. It's round 18 of the 19-round schedule. And after we went, guys, completely green at Mid-Ohio, there has been a spate of cautions in this series. At Sonoma, we had 7. At Baltimore, we had 6. And we're up to we had 7 yesterday. We're up to 6 now. So it's a little bit stop-start after we went the entire way at Mid-Ohio green.
You just had a feeling it was coming.
Yeah, you did. It's time for our Pennzoil driver profile, and we take a look at the former F1 man, Justin Wilson. Drove for Minardi, drove for Jaguar, and then came to the United States to compete in the Champ Car World Series, where he was partnered with A.J. Allmendinger. He just loves life here. He's really slotted in. He lives in Colorado with his wife and family and loves it. He is one of the most underrated drivers, not in America, in the world.
It's a shocker when you think about it. Here's Roger Penske, has had so many seasons consecutively of championships, falling apart at the end. He's looking for that championship caliber driver, the guy that could match a Scott Dixon for mentality and just keeping it together. And, you know, it's amazing Montoya's coming back to the series, but boy, I think Wilson deserves a look from one of these top teams.
Yeah, he's a Rolex 24 at Daytona winner, and he is enjoying doing the occasional Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series drive this year, that championship concluding last weekend. Let's check in with Jan. Actually, Marty, my apologies.
That's okay, Lee. I'll take it from here, and we'll chat with Mike Hull. Would love to see his driver get back up to the lead. Do you want him to get back in the lead because you need those points that he's currently taking away from you?
Well, you know, the reason that we're racing the way we raced yesterday as well as today is we set our mind to the fact we wanted to win the race. It's tough to take a global view when you're trying to win a race.
Well, when you're trying to win a championship, right?
Well, a championship goes with winning races. I think you need to win races to win championships.
Yeah. Let's talk about the restarts. They've been sort of interesting, haven't they? Did you get bumped on the last one by power?
Yeah, it's street racing to start with, let's face it. And, if you've ever come up to an intersection in Manhattan in your car, it's a free-for-all. That's kind of what street racing is all about. So it's not intentional on Will's part. It just kind of messed with Scott's momentum.
If Wally is in front of me at an intersection, I hit him too.
Well, I'd watch out for Wally if I were you.
I'd watch out for him all the time, trust me. Beyond?
With Craig Hampson, of course, making the calls for James Hinchcliffe. Great position now. You've closed that gap. Do you have anything for the leaders?
If I'm being frank, I think the two leaders are a little quicker than us. It looked like ourselves and Wilson are pretty closely matched, but those guys are maybe about 0.2 quicker. We'll do our best to get GoDaddy a podium here, and maybe if Wilson and Dixon have a little, or Power and Dixon have a little more fun, we can steal something more than that.
Now, we see a lot of issues on people on restarts not getting, looks like pickup and not getting the temperature up. We see James now violently weaving back and forth. Has that been an issue?
Yeah, certainly it is here and everywhere. You just don't want to get pickup on the tires. It'll be a little better now because we all put on cold tires on the pit stop and then didn't particularly run on them. But yeah, the restart could be interesting here.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you.
Some very straightforward and frank comments from Craig Hampson, a man who lived the glory days at Newman Haas in the Champ Car era, where he steered car number 7 in the background there, Sebastian Bourdais, to championships. He stood alongside Guillaume Rochlin, who is now Sebastian Vettel, the 3-time Formula One World Champions engineer. He knows a lot. He's a very smart guy. and he's looking forward to his man's chances of perhaps getting a podium. Back to Marty.
Well, let's chat with Tim Cindric, and how important is it your man stays in the lead, because he's helping Elio by staying in the lead, isn't he?
Sorry?
He's helping Elio by staying in the lead, isn't he?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, obviously we're trying to win the race for Verizon and everything else, but you know, it's a tough day for Elio. I mean, to have 2 days like this is it's been tough for us, but that's what we can do. And the guys had great pit stops, so hopefully we can finish it out this way.
It seems like on the restarts there have been a little bit of gamesmanship. He says Dixon's been slowing and stopping. I mean, what's been going on the restarts?
I think what happened there, if you saw those trucks pulling in right before the restart, the pace car didn't get away far enough, and the 9 car checked up is what Will thought happened. Then he ended up in the back of him. So I don't think it's as much as what's being talked about, but they're driving it.
Yeah, they're driving it, and all Tim can do is call the shots. Kevin?
One other driver that was having a strong day today now is going to have to make up some spots. EJ Viso was running and challenging for the top 5. 6th going into this last pit stop, but they had the problem on the left front. Didn't get it secured all the way. Had to push it back, so he lost a lot of positions. Now Viso running in 13th.
Yeah, that's actually a good point Tim brought up, because I did notice that. Those guys were getting out of the way as fast as they can, but they did throw the green, and there were trucks pulling down pit lane.
Look at Simona all over the back of Viso saying, what are you doing?
You want to close the gap on these restarts. You don't want to leave that much space.
That's what happened on the last one, and probably the top 8 cars were all nice and close, and the rest of the field was spread out everywhere. Nicely packed this time. Safety car is off, and here we go. The Verizon Chevrolet Willpower leads the field to green through turn 10. Let's go. Keep an eye on Justin Wilson, the 4th place car. He's got something for Hinchcliffe and Bourdais. We cannot discount Sebastian Bourdais in 5th.
Sebastian Bourdais proved earlier he is not afraid to throw it up the inside with reckless abandon. He pulled it off. We'll see if he can do it again.
He double podiumed at Toronto at the last doubleheader, the 2 in TO, and then finished on the podium on the streets of Baltimore a month ago. And he's running 5th at the moment and looking good, looking strong and fast. The top 9.
Justin Wilson on the push to pass right now, trying to set up Hinchcliffe. Does he have enough to take a look?
Yellow again.
He had the run, and
that's a wasted push to pass.
Yeah, that's a wing end fence, it looks like. You hear Cindric giving the information to Will Power. There's 2 pieces of debris there. There's a little piece further back on the line. Not sure whose front wing end fence that is.
Yep, you got it.
And the voice of the president of Penske Racing.
And we're hearing it might be Joseph Newgarden. But
well, it's got that reflective red, hasn't it? Look when the cars go past. A beautiful paint job on the 67.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to send my Raptor down to those guys' shop and let them paint that thing. I'll tell you, that is the gorgeous paint job.
You've got a Raptor?
I do.
I rode one here last night. They're pretty cool.
They are.
8 different teams at the moment in the top 8 positions. Penske, Ganassi, Andretti, Coyne, Dragon, Schmidt, Hamilton, Foyt, and Panther. That's the way to share it around. Let's have a look here. Where is Joseph? There he is.
It's already broken at that point. So he had contact with something or somebody. And look at everybody swerve. Now, they're not so worried about damage to the bodywork or the hard parts of their car. It's tire failure they want to avoid. So punctures are a big deal.
So he's returned to the Sarah Fisher Hartman pit to get some attention on the 67 on the Strike Energy car.
I had read man hours went into this paint scheme, Wally, and they didn't have enough time to do the front wing and the spare.
And away we go for Joseph. So we pause again, our 7th caution now for 20 laps in this race. It's been another strong performance from Justin Wilson and his Dale Coyne racing car, the Boy Scouts of America. Marty?
Yeah, how about this? They're in position to get their 5th straight top 5 finish. What's been going on with the team lately, Dale? It seems like Justin can't do anything wrong.
It's just time to go. When it's racing, it's time to go. So he's doing a good job.
He is doing a good job. Does he have enough for the leaders, though?
I don't know. We need some shake and rattle up there, and the way this place has been going, that could happen. So we'll see what happens.
Does the level of performance make you happy or excited about next year for the way things are going right now?
Yeah, very much so. No, we think we can run strong next year. You know, we're 6th in the points. Looks like we'll be 5th after this race. So we'll see what we can do.
That. How would it be if Justin Wilson were able to finish top 5 in the championship standings this year, Kevin?
Jay Penske, your guy Sebastian Bourdais running 5th, strong all day. Do you have anything to get a couple of more spots or more?
Well, we've got 9 overtakes left. This McAfee True Car effort has been fantastic all day. We were great in the pits, and we'll see if Bourdais can bring that silver bullet forward.
All right, he has been racy today. We saw him already pick up 2 in 1 quarter earlier in this race.
And Jay's point there about push to pass, his man Sebastian Bourdais has more than anybody in the top 10. He's got 9. The next closest to him is Wilson, who's ahead of him with 6. So he's got 3 more over Wilson. We'll see what the Frenchman can do.
You know, he got lucky there. I know Kevin said he got 2 in the last attempt, but the second one of the 2 was pretty lucky there, only because, room was left open. You're not going to get away with that 10 times out of 10 on the street circuit.
And I know you were throwing some terms around. Craig from Hinch said having some fun, I think, and Dale said getting together. I mean, what they're hoping is these 2 guys in the front get together.
Yes.
Shaking things up means that maybe the 2 guys in front will get together, because everybody knows that these 2 cars up front right now are definitely the strongest cars. And for somebody like Hinch and Wilson, they need a little luck.
Dixon has 2 more push to passes than the man he's chasing, Will Power. How much will that come into play in these closing 21 laps here in Houston, Texas? You're watching live IndyCar action on your home of open wheel racing, NBCSN. It's time to go racing again. No more yellows. Let's get some racing rhythm. And Power with a brilliant restart. Hinchcliffe going with Dixon.
Whoa, Simon Pagenaud barely hanging on to it out of the last corner. Almost got in the fence.
Here we go, inside move. Kimball thought about it, then thought again. Oriol Servia working his way around. Servia made a really good start earlier in the race and has made up the most positions in this field. That's 13 for Oriol.
And the only thing Oriol's got is, he's got Fontana as his last race. He does not have a contract for next year. He's one of the more experienced drivers in the field, always considered by all the teams when there's an opening. But right now, no contract. He's driving for his future. You can just see how bumpy it is. Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, we're both drivers. It is violent in that car. And you can just hear the slop wally in the gearbox as it hits those bumps. I mean, that's the abuse these cars are taking. It is so violent vertically as they're hopping, bam, 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 and that gearbox really feels it.
It's amazing any of them stay together.
Look at Servia taking a look up the inside.
Oh, that's the huge bump. That's turn 1. That's the one that was ground down as far as they could.
And Kimball plowed right through that. You can see Servia went around it.
Takuma Sato is up ahead. You're looking at 7th, 8th, and 9th. And here we go. He's in the middle of it. Kimball thought about it there. He's being hounded by Mike Conway, and here comes Dario Franchitti on the inside.
Almost looked to me like Servia had trouble getting the gear, like he didn't quite get the downshift. He was really slow off that last corner.
Meanwhile, up front, Power has put half a second on Dixon. On the first flying lap, Hinchcliffe 3rd, Wilson 4th, Bourdais, Pagenaud, Sato. Look at these guys.
She's already had 1 penalty, so I'm sure that's on her mind. She's got to keep it clean and tidy, but how do you do that on such a narrow track?
She's 13th at the moment, trying to steal that 12th away from EJ Vizo. This is where it's tight. It's getting pretty tough here in the lower positions within the top 10. Mike Conway is in that 10th position.
Whoa!
That was James Jakes.
Really got sideways through there.
Hanging it out.
We ride with the Englishman now. The Acorn Stairlifts car for Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan on the inside. Who was that who put their front wing in there?
And James Jakes, one of the few drivers still on red tires. We know that the balance has been going away at the back of the car there on the reds over a long run, so he's clearly hanging on.
Tristan Vautier in the Angie's List car for Schmidt-Peterson Racing. And look at these guys, how they've gapped. Craig Hampson, the engineer for James Hinchcliffe, said it. The top 2, they're probably a few tenths of a second faster than what we've got, and that is being illustrated right now. Power and Dixon just romping away from the rest of the field. 18 to go. And Marco Andretti has spun the RC Cola car. Can he fire it up? He's asking for help, I think. So
yeah, well, I know, but you can see by his hands, like, hey, I need a push, and then he's throwing his hands up frustrated. But don't forget, we're still under green flag conditions. If I'm a corner worker, I'm not running out there to push that car.
And say, come on, let's help.
Caution.
There we go.
Racking them up. So it's 8 now. 8
and
yellows.
He's trying to get this done before he loses a lap. Obviously, that's not going to happen. That's why he's so anxious.
And here was Luca Filippi up the inside, and Newgarden got into the back of him.
Yeah.
And we are probably going to see that under review, Lee.
Yes, for sure. So Marco gets rescued. We're under yellow again. We'll go racing when we come back after this quick break. We thought while the Houston Texans were out of town in San Francisco tonight, we'd just play in their backyard. That's what we've been doing for the last 2 days. Yesterday was brutal weather-wise. There was in excess of 100-degree heat index. However, today is some 30 degrees cooler. It's a lot pleasant. There's a breeze. It's great for the fans. It's better for the drivers, the teams. I want to give a shout-out to our camera crew, our camera operators who yesterday endured a full day, not just doing IndyCar racing, other events as well. And then this morning, they had to go out in the rain. And then today, finally, some cooler conditions. So to our team, thank you very much for the excellent work that you do and enduring those really tough conditions, particularly yesterday. And thanks for all the wonderful pictures that you give us here live on NBCSN. If you've just joined us, welcome back to the Shell and Pennzoil Grand Prix of Houston. It's the second last race of the year, and the title is far from decided. Elio Castro Neves was bounced out of the race with gearbox issues. The team worked really, really well, and there's been a lot of interesting things unfolding championship-wise while we've been away. Elio racked up enough laps to leapfrog Tony Kanaan to take 23rd in this race at the moment. That gives him one more point. Will Power not only passed Scott Dixon a long time ago in this race to take the lead, that took 10 points away from Dixon. At one point, it was 38 points the lead. And then now, Will Power has just beaten Scott Dixon as far as the amount of laps led. He gets 2 more points. So, Marty, from 38 points at one stage in this race, the advantage Dixon has over Castro Neves, he sliced it down to 25.
Well, Lee, and you mentioned those 12 points that Will Power's kind of now taken away from Scott Dixon. That could be as many as 10 positions at Fontana, and it's eerily similar to what Scott Dixon told me before the race. He said, listen, I know at Fontana, Elio is going to be better than us. The team's tested at Fontana. Last week, Elio Castro Neves was by a pretty decent amount better than Scott Dixon time-wise on the racetrack. Now, all those times were unofficial. You're riding on board with Elio, so they expect to be better than Scott Dixon at Fontana. So this championship, far from over, shaping up to be an exciting one in a couple of weeks at Fontana.
You know, if you're sitting in Dixon's spot, though, you think, yeah, he's running a comfortable second. He's made a lot of points up this weekend. But to Marty's point, you'd rather go in there with as much cushion as possible. And I think if you're sitting in Scott's seat right now, you want that lead. You want those extra points because as we've seen over the years, every point makes so much, a difference on in this championship. So it's going to be interesting to see if Scott pushes the envelope here and tries to get the win.
Now, I know you don't believe in spatial awareness, but do you believe in numerology?
Slot 1 back there, slot 1.
In what way?
I thought you were going to say, what's that? Well, as far as IndyCar championships are concerned, Scott Dixon won in 2003. Scott Dixon won in 2008. It's another 5-year gap. It's 2013. Is it going to be his year? Will that trend continue?
Up at night finding this?
Yes. Yes, he does.
What? You really need to get some sleep, Debbie.
All right, here we go. No sleeping here. It's ready to crank it up for the final run, the final 14 laps here in Houston. And once again, Will Power has a handy buffer over Dixon through this turn 1 sweeper. And we're hearing from race control, avoidable contact, Newgarden on Andretti. That's the reason for this 8th and most recent caution, and that will be a drive-through for Joseph Newgarden. After finishing in the top 5 yesterday, tough day today.
Just watching, Will Power put the power down. He is having no trouble here. He's the lead car. Any pickup, he would pick up first on his tires, but he's having no issues getting up to speed. He is flying on these restarts.
The man who finally got that win in Sonoma, California, Will Power. It has been a frustrating season. Now Dixon draws as close as he's been in many laps. Is this Scott Dixon turning up the heat on Will Power? Look at this.
I thought he was going to do it right there. That was a good opportunity.
Just as I was saying, he was making a quick escape. It looked like he started to have issues through that turns 5 and 6 complex. And now he's been able to build a little bit of gap there.
And the mayor of Hinchtown is on the scene as well. The GoDaddy machine running strong in 3rd, and he's as close to Dixon as he's ever been.
You know, we forget sometimes it looks so easy, it looks so automatic for Will Power, but we forget what a tightrope he walks around a track like this, like any driver. And there is another issue. Here's Dixon.
He uses to push the pass. He's Power's on it.
Dixon is all over him, and Dixon gets a big wiggle through 6.
But Dixon's got 6 more. Power's got 3.
But Wally, there's not much of a straightaway here. I mean, you are cornering all the way through there. That push to pass is not like Brazil.
But Power seems to be better like through 8, 9, and 10. And Dixon's better on the other half of the racetrack. So I think Dixon's trying to figure out where he can set him up.
James Hinchcliffe is looking racy in the GoDaddy machine. His engineer didn't think that the car or James had anything for them, but perhaps he does. He's a 3-time winner this year. The man immediately ahead of him, Scott Dixon, racked up his 4th yesterday. 11 to go is the call. Bourdais sitting back there in 5th. He can't seem to close anything on Justin Wilson. There he is, and he still has 8 push to passes with only 11 laps to go. He can use them. His countryman, Simon Pagenaud, immediately behind. These two had words after Baltimore where Bourdais took exception to Pagenaud contacting him, pushing him wide and barging his way through.
And I didn't think there was anything wrong with the way Pagenaud drove Baltimore. But, you know, Bourdais a 4-time champion. There's a certain level of entitlement, I think, there. And he is running at the front. He's the only guy that's won prior to these guys coming back here at Houston, right? He's a 2-time winner back in the Champ Car days.
Marty?
And then, fellas, in the mix of all this, Justin Wilson right there in 4th, who now Lee has moved up to 4th in the championship standings because of everybody else's mistakes. Dale Coyne came on the radio, said, let's be calm, let's just finish right here in the top 5, and we'll take advantage of everybody else's mistakes today. Who would have thought, beginning of the season, Justin Wilson would be 4th in the championship heading to the last race of the season?
It's incredible. Everything came together very, very late last year, early this year for the 2013 season. But Wilson was patient. Dale Coyne stayed loyal to him. And here they are in the top 4 in the championship.
A man and his truck, and his son who would rather play computer games than go camping. And a valley, and a river, and the stars, and a new convert. The all-new Chevy Silverado, from one generation to the next, strong for all the roads ahead.
Inside yours. Keep pushing here, bud. I'll turn 4, spotter. Turn 4's clear.
Streaming 4-in-1 Mosaic.
Inside. One push to pass left. Be smart here.
Live pit crew chatter. Riding shotgun from green flag to checkered. That's powerful. Download IndyCar 13 now, only from Verizon.
For the police, this car is finished. 90,000 hard miles. But I'm hoping for another 300,000. They used Mobil 1 for performance. I use it to keep my cars running like new. I run Mobil 1 in my own car. Guess what I drive?
Keep your engine running like new. Mobil 1.
As Premier League plot lines thicken, see why over 10 million have tuned into the networks of NBC, the exclusive home of the Premier League. Tottenham, Liverpool and Man City all strive to move up the table to claim the top spot of the league. Premier League action returns Saturday, October 19th at 7 Eastern on the NBC Sports Network and continues at 12:30 on NBC.
You're watching NBC SN's live coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Pennzoil. At Pennzoil, we know it doesn't matter what you do in your car, it only matters what you put in it. Gorgeous fall day here in the Lone Star State. Will it be a sunshine day for Will Power? Well, he's led 43 of the laps. That's almost half of this race in a pretty strong performance. Has Scott Dixon got anything for him in these closing 8 laps? Dixon still has 6 push to passes left to utilize, but maybe where he is what he's got. and he's going to have to settle for that and head to Fontana in 2 weeks' time to Auto Club Speedway with a 25-point championship lead. Jan?
Let's also look at the Manufacturers' Championship. We know the Drivers' Championship is going to go to Fontana, but with Will Power driving a Chevrolet, if he wins today, it will also go to Fontana. If for some reason Dixon gets by him, he would clinch it for Honda, but now it looks like the gap is growing. This championship, both manufacturers and drivers, looks like it's going to Fontana.
John, that gap is growing, and Will Power has turned up the wick. He's the first driver I've seen into the 59s today. He is smoking.
And I've noticed Scott been hitting the curbs a little bit harder, so he's probably losing the handle on his car a little bit, and he's been clobbering on those curbs to make up a little bit of time.
Now 7 laps to go, Wally. If Dixon has 6 push-to-passes, I'm going to start using 1 a lap.
Absolutely, yeah. Try to close the gap a little bit.
Although this has not been like years past for Will Power, he has led in 14 of the 18 races thus far this season. And guess what? He's the only driver to have done that. So we've seen the Will Power of old on many occasions this year, but he has made errors. He's had mechanical mistakes. Other people have taken him out, like when poor old J.R. Hildebrand ran over him in the season opener down there. It's been a bizarre season. It has not been a typical Will Power season where we see him dominate on the street and road courses. He's actually been doing a lot better this year on the oval tracks.
Yeah, surprisingly, that's the case. And again, it's been really interesting to see the Penske team, and especially with Will, they were so dominant on these kind of circuits, able to pull away with ease. They're having to work a lot harder at it, but it seems like the last few races, Will's really gotten back to his old form. He's comfortably in the lead right now and in full command of this race.
Only 2 retirements from this race, Ed Carpenter and Tony Kanaan. Tony crashed out earlier on lap 32. But the big story here today, folks, involves this man here driving the Shell Pennzoil Chevrolet for Roger Penske. Helio Castro-Neves came into this weekend with a 49-point championship lead. He finished 18th yesterday after gearbox issues. More gearbox issues today while leading the race. And he spent a long time back in the paddock area where his team replaced the gearbox. Helio runs 23rd at the moment. Grabs an extra point by going ahead. Whoa, and had a big handful there. Grabs an extra point by getting ahead of Tony Kanaan. But his teammate up ahead, Will Power, with 5 to go, is doing him the biggest favor he can hope for. Look at Power. He's got a 1.1 second lead, and he has stolen 12 points away from Scott Dixon. How big will that be? We will only know when we get to Auto Club Speedway in 2 weeks' time.
You know, we heard Dixon talk about, well, I think Castro-Neves is going to be much stronger at Fontana. Let's not forget back at Pocono when the Honda drivers were complaining, oh, Chevy's going to blow us away, and all of a sudden that Honda fuel efficiency came into play. So I think it's going to be a head-to-head battle when we get there in 2 weeks.
I'm really surprised. Scott Dixon has not been using his push-to-passes. I mean, the laps are winding down here. 4 more laps. He still has 6 left. I'd be laying on that thing.
Yeah. Bourdais has used up 5 of his. He had 9. He's now only got 4. Hinchcliffe has 4. Wilson has 4. And our leader has 3. So they've all got plenty up their sleeves. You can see the gap there between Dixon and Hinchcliffe. It's opened up. Wilson feels like he's got a genuine shot, a legitimate shot at the podium for the 2nd day in a row.
And Wally, there we see Dixon now on the button. 5 to go, 4 laps to go, so he can use 2 on 1 lap.
A little bit further down the order, here's Simona Di Silvestro in the KV Racing Technology machine. Simona is 13th at the moment. She finished a career-high 2nd yesterday. It was an awesome run. No qualifying today. We had a lot of rain here earlier this morning. Qualifying, and the grid was set by car entrance points. And that meant Helio Castro-Neves started on the front row alongside Scott Dixon. So it's Power, Dixon, Hinchcliffe, Wilson, Bourdais 5th, Pagenaud 6th, Sato 7th. That's been a good comeback drive today with that injured wrist. Servia doing well in the National Guard Panther car.
Hey, Lee, look at this. Now, Dixon has been on the button a little bit. All of a sudden, that 1 second gap has disappeared. I wonder if Will Powers made a mistake or if he's starting to struggle with the handling of that number 12 Verizon car.
He's going to be on ready for the green light to come on for Scott Dixon. Is he going to do it? Is he pushing the push to pass? No, not this time. Up into that turn 6 area, the most popular overtaking spot on this circuit. How desperate does he want this win? Can he do it? Time is running out. Remember, there's also a bonus $50,000 on the line from Sonax if he can win it. He won the $100,000 at the 2 in TO in Toronto, and if he takes the clean sweep here, he gets another $50,000.
Somebody tell that Kiwi to get on the button. You do not want to finish this race with money in the bank. Spend it.
Yeah, 2 laps to go. He's got 5 sitting there.
The key spot is when they come around turn 4 and into that 5 right-hand sweeper is the popular spot to put on the push to pass. Let's watch for it. Let's wait. You'll see the green light come on that graphic in the top right corner of your screen. Dixon's very good through this turn 4. How close can he get? Can he execute a pass heading up into turn 6?
And this is the tightrope walk I was talking about. A little bit of aggression, you might get 100th in a corner. A mistake, you're going to lose 3 or 4 tenths. And they are balancing that all the way through. Dixon still with 5 in the bag.
And Will Power can respond as well. He's got several to utilize as well. With 2 laps to run.
He knows you can't take him the Fontana, right?
And there he goes. He just got on the button. So 4 remain according to our data.
You got 3 more.
White flag is out. 1.7 miles to run. The distance between Scott Dixon and a clean sweep, or will it be Will Power's day?
The problem is Power's got more than enough now to bend.
He can respond.
He should have used him early to try to get Power to use him up.
Man, I got half a lap to go. I'm just holding the thing down the whole time.
He's on it. Dixon is on it here.
He's on the overtake behind you again. Overtake behind you. You can use one.
He's a long way back to come up into turn 6. He's nowhere near close enough. 2-3 car lengths behind Will Power. Half a lap left to run.
Oh, and Dixon got really loose out of that last corner. I'm not sure he's going to have enough here.
2 car lengths in it between Power and Dixon. This championship is going to go all the way to the final. Whoa, that's a huge crash. EJ Viso was at Marco Andretti. There's 4 or 5 cars involved in that. Turn 10 for the final time. It's a Penske day. It's a Will Power day in Houston. Dario Franchitti. That is a nasty crash. Takuma Sato and Viso.
Dario Franchitti, I think, is in pain. That looks like a heavy crash. I can see him put his head back. As a driver, I feel like I see the wincing there, but let's hope they're okay.
Yeah, a crash like that, you got to gather your thoughts a little bit too, even if you
and
are.
Your breath.
Yeah.
And your breath.
You can see Takuma Sato. The guys seem to be on the radio. Viso is extracting himself from the Sitco Andretti Autosport car. What went down here? This is a very high-speed section of the track. It's a blind right-hand sweeper. And there is just debris everywhere. And there is his teammate, Scott Dixon. Just hoping that his good friend and longtime teammate is okay. Huge crash on the final lap of this 90-lap event.
See, Viso's running over to move his front wing out of the way so guys can get through. Here's the safety team. That's a welcome sight. Those guys are on the scene.
The whole Matro safety teom. The guys do such a great job.
Back there. Yeah. So
Sato in the background. Remember, Takuma had a very well, I don't want to say slow speed. It wasn't slow speed, but he had a minor crash yesterday, enough to tweak his wrist. This was a high-speed crash.
And I think that's the turn 5 section, Lee, isn't it?
It is 5. It's the 5 sweeper.
Yeah, carrying a lot of speed through there.
Flying. And let's not forget, we talked about the marbles. And there's the marbles on the outside there. Sato gets loose.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. That is a horrifying ride for Dario Franchitti.
Oh, man. That is an oval crash we've seen before, and we hate to see that kind of impact.
Sato,
oh, boy. Look at the debris go through. Oh, boy. And fencing. Yeah, it does look like there might be some debris into the grandstands as well. That is a violent impact.
Fortunately, the fence kept the car in the racetrack.
This is Graham Rahal arriving on the scene.
Full course yellow. Can you get through there?
So Sato gets loose, and Dario's got nowhere to go. That is a thundering blow.
Yeah.
It leaves you speechless. And again, the whole Metro safety crew and medics attending to Dario Franchitti on the scene. We could see earlier what looked like, and here is his team boss Chip Ganassi on the way to see Dario. We saw earlier what appeared to be Dario talking on the radio to his team. If that was the case, we don't know. But very, very frightening scenes for a 4-time series winner, a 3-time Indy 500 champ.
What's comforting as a driver is to sit here and see that the survival cell largely intact there. You know, that the tub appears to be intact, but you just can't deny the force of that impact, Wally.
In the business attending to him right now.
Yeah.
If you're just turning on, this has been a very high-speed and scary crash for one of the sports legends. Dario Franchitti is being tended to right now. The other cars you can see on track, the Sitco entry is EJ Viso. He got himself out of the car and walked away. The other car is of Takuma Sato of AJ Foyt Racing. He too got himself out of the car and walked away. And this is what is on the outside of the circuit from where Dario Franchitti climbed up over Takuma Sato's car and into the catch fencing. It was a violent, confronting crash.
And you know, what's nice is that the fencing gave way. You know, it kept him inside the track.
Right,
but
it did its job there.
We know from previous incidents that if those posts are too strong, you know, really bad things happen too. So, gosh, that's just...
So again, Takuma Sato looked like he got loose. He momentarily lost control of the car, and Dario Franchitti was right behind him at high speed. This is one of the fastest corners on the track.
Lee, we mentioned marbles, but Sato was online. That was just getting loose in the groove. Rear tire wear and just losing the balance there.
And it looked like where Franchitti was, he saw Sato get loose, so he went to the outside.
And then you're in the marbles.
Then you're in the marbles
and climbing the left rear of Sato.
Towards the back of the ambulance there, you can see Dr. Terry Trammell, a man who has been involved in IndyCar racing for decades. He is very close to all of the drivers, has done some tremendous work over the years. And it will be very comforting for Dario to see Dr. Trammell on the scene. While they tend to Dario, we will check in with our race winner, Will Power.
Yeah, and what will be a muted victory lane. And his first question when he pulled his helmet off, you were worried. You asked me, is Dario okay? When you pulled through, what did you see?
Yeah, it just looked bad, man. I hate seeing that. I just hate it. I just hope he's okay. Someone said he was taking his gloves off, so, you know. Oh, God, I hate that. But, yeah, very good day. You know, stoked for Verizon, Shell. It's the Shell Pennzoil Grand Prix. So, great day for our sponsors. Kind of helped Elio a bit. Man, I feel bad for him. And just hope Dario's okay.
You told me you guys had speed in the second half of the season, but what was the difference today to execute at the end of the race?
I think that we had the quickest car for sure. You know, it was a little bit skatey on cold tires, but I knew that any time I wanted, I could pull a bit of a gap on Dixon. So I was very determined to get him there because I thought I thought it was such a good battle yesterday between us for me to kind of get put back in the pack because of the yellow call. But yeah, good battling and a very good day.
Will Power certainly happy to get his second win of the season, but of course, more importantly, thinking about his friend Dario Franchitti. Kevin.
Scott Dixon has taken a major jump in the championship with this weekend. First and second place finishes, now up 25 points as Mike Hall comes in to offer congratulations. Great for the championship, but I know your thoughts are elsewhere right now.
Yeah, definitely, thoughts with Dario. He didn't get out of the car too quick there. Well, they still haven't got him out. I could see him moving when I drove past. I kind of tried to wave at him to see if he was okay. And he kind of moved his head a little bit. So, really hoping he's okay. They got into the fence pretty bad too, so I hope that nobody in the stands got hurt. We come here to put on a great show, but nobody ever wants to see somebody get hurt. So, thoughts with everybody that's involved in that accident, and hopefully we'll be able to see Dario here shortly.
I must ask you about the championship scenario. You came in a long ways back. Could you imagine any better results for this weekend?
Another win would have been nice. We came up a little short. Will was being pretty aggressive there. He hit us before the restart, and then he hit us going into 4. That's what spun me sort of sideways, and he got the run on me down the back straight there. So, it is what it is, and they've been super aggressive. They're trying to, obviously he's trying to take as many points away for his teammate as he could. But all in all, a pretty decent weekend. Good turnaround in points for us, but it's still gonna, it's gonna be a tough weekend in Fontana. 25 points can go anybody's way. So I just hope Dario is okay and everybody.
Thank you, Scott. 25 points is his advantage heading to Fontana. Jan?
And Kevin, of course, Elio Castroneves with us, seeing the Dario Franchitti now on the stretcher. And you said when you drove by, you also saw movement.
Yeah, I saw up here. I'm not sure. I really hope he's okay. To be honest, I saw a little bit of the accident and horrified. I mean, I just hope everything's all right. Do you guys have any news?
No news yet. We just, like you, saw him moving, and as we see now on the gurney.
I wish him. I hope everything is fine. I know we have the great safety crew. My thoughts right now with him. Hopefully everything will be okay.
Now, championship-wise, now 25 points. I know now you're thinking of Dario, not the championship, but it could have been worse. Your teammate saved you 12, and you earned a point by going back out.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. This team never give up. Really disappointing, something that, again, I have no idea why. In 2 races we have gearbox problems, and really disappointed, but nothing we can do. Those things happen, we just have to keep focused in our race. Going to the last run, we know we have a good car for that, and keep the faith. We never give up. This team is about all bounce back, and I know it sounds like repetitive, but I have faith on these guys.
And we also have faith that the safety team will be attending to Dario Franchitti. We all watch to find out what is the result.
And as soon as we hear word, we will update you as soon as we know something. For those of you just turning on, this is the scene, the aftermath of one of the most scariest crashes you've seen, involving Dario Franchitti, EJ Viso and Takuma Sato. This is the replay if you haven't seen it. And keep an eye on car 14. Takuma Sato just slightly loses control, and Dario Franchitti, who is coming around the outside of him, that is what's left. At high speed, it's one of the fastest corners on the track. It's blind, and it's a challenging corner to say the least. And that is what happened. Dario just climbed up over the back of Sato into the catch fencing. Catch fencing doing its job. And as soon as we get word on Dario's condition, we will let you know. IndyCar medical team, the whole Matro safety team doing an excellent job to be there quickly to get Dario secured and into the ambulance. And the paramedics will take over from there. So we will update you as soon as we know something. Let's check in with Kevin Lee. Kevin?
A podium, 3rd place for James Hinchcliffe today. It's hard to really celebrate at this point. You just saw that for the first time. I'm always amazed at how you guys are able to strap in dealing with these kind of circumstances.
Yeah, that's tough, man. I mean, it really takes the wind out of the sail. The most important thing is that everybody's all right there. Anytime you get into a fence, it's bad, and we just wish Dario the best and hope he's good in 2 weeks' time and can finish off the season strong. But as far as our point of view, I'm proud of the GoDaddy guys. It's all in the recovery, and after what happened yesterday, it would have been really easy to kick ourselves in the teeth and get down on it, but we just worked harder than ever, and good stops. The car was really strong. I mean, we saw that in the lap times. It wasn't just circumstance that put us there. We got there, and we've had a rough run of it kind of since Iowa. So to get back on the podium in the pink GoDaddy car, it's cool in the one-off livery to get back on the podium. National Breast Cancer Foundation's a cool society to support, and it's tough, man. I'm so much I want to be so much happier than I am. It's tough when you see something like that. So we'll take it. Really proud of the guys. Huge thanks to them. I'm really glad it was a doubleheader because we had a chance to redeem ourselves. But just want to make sure Dario was all right.
All right, thank you, Hinch. 3 wins this year and a podium to hopefully soon celebrate with better news coming up in a few minutes for James Hinchcliffe.
And Kevin, that's particularly tough for Hinch because he's very close to the Franchitti family. He is very good friends with Dario, with Marino, Dario's younger brother. We know that our coverage is going global. We're into the UK and to Dario's home country of Scotland. We know that many of you will be keen to get an update on Dario's condition. We don't know yet. We will tell you as soon as we can. Jan?
Simon Pagenaud, of course, waiting for news on Dario Franchitti, but he also was waiting for news on the championship, and unfortunately I have bad news for you. 55 points. You're asking the team didn't know to you and Dixon, so looks like the championship won't be yours, but still upper positions available.
Yeah, still, it's obviously it's disappointing, especially what happened at the end of the race. I hope everybody's okay there. On our championship standpoint, it's been an awesome season already. I think we fought hard. Unfortunately, this weekend we had some issues with time management, and that cost us a podium today. So it is what it is. I fought hard. I tried as hard as I could, and we're 6th today, but we consolidated our 3rd place in the championship, and we can still hope for 2nd. So, it's still very positive for the HP team.
Can you put in perspective for us what it is like when you have pickup or you don't have tire temperature and it's dancing across these bumps and you have to manhandle it? How can you put that into perspective of a road car?
Well, just to give you an example, we cross different concrete on the racetrack, and the car wouldn't turn on some concrete, and some other concrete it was just grip up. I was struggling with the rear today. What you saw at the end of my stint on red tires is just the rear just dropped off 3 seconds a lap. All of a sudden, I just destroyed the rear tires. And on restart, we were better than yesterday, but unfortunately, just not good enough. But I'm still very happy. I think I have no regrets, and it has been a pretty intense race today. So it's still pretty good.
Been a fantastic season for Simon, and still 1 race to go.
And he finished 5th last year. He was Sunoco Rookie of the Year. If he can finish either 2nd or 3rd, that would be impressive. Here's more news from the Ganassi camp.
And I think we have very good news. We found Chip Ganassi, who just went out to the destroyed car of Dario Franchitti. What do you have to report?
Yeah, I mean, I looked at him, I said, "You okay?" And he said, "I don't know." He said, but he's talking, and his ankle's a little sore and his back's a little sore, and he's going to take a trip to the hospital, that's for sure.
Well, that tells us about the safety of these cars. That's as scary a crash as I've seen.
Yes. He's okay.
All right, thank you, Chip. Great news. Best news we've heard all day. Dario Franchitti is banged up, sore, maybe some other injuries, but ultimately he's going to be okay.
And we can all breathe a collective sigh of relief. Wow. That is just incredible. And look at that scene. But that's the news that we were hoping for, folks, that Dario Franchitti is okay. And we don't have more details on the injuries that he has sustained, but you hear it from his team boss that he's all right. He's talking, communicating, and he's pretty sore and banged up. Jan?
And that word was just given to Justin Wilson, at least a thumbs up. And we heard from Chip Ganassi. I know you can't hear our audio, but he did talk to Dario. It appears as though he is going to be okay, which is unbelievable. That was a huge wreck.
Yeah, that was a mess. And we were trying to watch it on the in-lap there, looking at the big screens, and it didn't look nice. When the car goes up into this fencing, it's not good. So definitely pretty somber thinking of Dario at that point, and I'm glad to hear that he's doing okay. And it's not the way we want to finish races. We want to put on a good show, and we're racing hard. So those things can happen now and again. It's a dangerous sport.
Talking about racing hard, how tough today with these conditions, pickup cars jumping around. Great day for you.
Great day for us. The Boy Scouts of America car was fantastic. The team did a great job in the pit stops. It's another top 4. Really pleased with that. I think we're always there fighting. Didn't quite have enough to get by James. I was pushing him hard, but he was quick and didn't make any mistakes. So pleased with 4th today. Was hoping for a little bit more, but pleased with it.
We'll see you in Fontana.
Thank you.
And the encouraging news for Justin Wilson, he's headed for his best ever championship result since he joined the IZOD IndyCar Series. There is the ambulance with Dario Franchitti on board. The medical center is a long way away from the crash, and the good news is that Dario is okay. The word from his team owner and boss and friend, Chip Ganassi. So really worrying scenes, but it's got a positive end to it. Back in a moment. We're back in Houston, the conclusion of the final double-header weekend, the Shell and Pennzoil Grand Prix of Houston. And it's time now to revisit that crash with somebody who was right in the middle of it, EJ Viso.
And EJ is going to see this on our monitor for the first time. He had a good day going, running sixth until pit stop problem. But you came up behind this. What did you see? And you ultimately had pretty hard contact too.
Well, that corner is pretty much a blind corner. There's not a lot that you can see, and there's only one line that you can run, and it's the mid and the low lane. Above that, it's all full of marbles, and you really cannot be there. I was just getting there, and there was a cloud of dust and a cloud of pieces of cars. I did my best to avoid Dario, and then I kind of clipped him, and then there was Takuma in front of me. I'm happy that all of them are okay, and it's a shame that we had an amazing race going. I was going to finish 5th or 6th after starting 12th, but one issue in the pits really killed my day.
All right, EJ, glad to see where you're okay as well. Lee?
Yeah, it's when you hear it from somebody who was in the middle of it, it just adds to it. But for those of you just turning on, and if that's the first time you saw the crash replay, we can say that thankfully Dario Franchitti is on his way. He is headed to the hospital and to be checked out. But his team owner, Chip Ganassi, told us that he is okay and he communicated with him. Here's Jan.
And, of course, the first car in trouble that we saw was Takuma Sato. Taku, what happened for you?
Well, in the last lap, I got a marble when they get close to the wall and brush it, and then lost a momentum. So then a couple cars got me, and then I was even offline. Yeah, and then into the turn 5, I suddenly lost on the back end. And then I think Dario must have been just outside, and hope he's okay.
When you say get in the marbles, does that mean that the bumps got you a little bit offline and then you get that on the tires?
Yeah, we got them together, and then yes, it's so easy to go offline and to go to marbles. And but then after that, a couple of cars and it got me. So then it's just naturally, I was forced to go to the even more marbles.
Are you okay?
I'm totally fine. It's just cars damage, and hopefully Dario is okay for this.
Yes, he was just given the news that Dario was in fact okay from the AJ Foyt team, and I know a rough weekend for you, and hope better for Fontana.
It was a rough weekend for us, but hopefully, yes, Fontana will be good.
And with that replay, it gave us another opportunity to see that there were pieces of the car and also pieces of the catch fencing that did get vaulted into the grandstand where the fans were sitting. This is unconfirmed, but we believe there may be as many as 15 people being treated and being checked out. We have not heard any reports of any serious injuries. They may be abrasions, we don't know. We can't speculate on that, but unconfirmed reports in the region of some 15 fans have been checked out by medical. So as soon as we have something official from the IZOD IndyCar series, from an official with the series, we will relay that to you. But I think, guys, on the positive side, it's a thumbs up for Dario.
Yeah, that's great to see. We never, as everybody said, we never like to see a race end that way. We never like to see that at any point during a motorsports event. But on the flip side, looking forward, this has just been an unbelievable championship battle, and it is absolutely going to continue there at Fontana. Wally?
Yeah, just as violent as that crash was, it's good to see that the fence really did its job, as well as the cars. These cars are so strong.
Yeah.
It's really a credit to that's such a high G violent wreck, and it's good to see that everybody looks like they're going to be okay.
Here's Marty.
Yes, talking with Amy Conrath from IndyCar. And what is the update on Dario Franchitti?
Dario Franchitti is awake and alert. He's going to be transported via ground to a local hospital. As soon as we have a further update, we'll provide that to everyone.
And you're working on trying to find out what's going on with the fans, correct?
We're going to get an update for everyone soon.
All right, they'll get an update from them. I did talk to Kelby Krause, who's the PR manager for Ganassi Racing. He told me that they're going to go to Memorial Hermann, Texas Hospital, Medical Center, actually. It's about 10 minutes away from the racetrack via ambulance ride. They are going to skip going to the Medical Center here at the track and go straight to the hospital, Lee.
And that's only about a mile and a half up the road, I'm led to believe. So as more information comes in, we will relay that to you. As far as the fans in the stands who were affected by the flying debris from the cars and from the catch fencing. Somebody mentioned it a little bit earlier. I think it was Justin Wilson saying it's kind of a somber note because we've had a really good time. We've had a great weekend here in Houston, Texas. Open wheel racing returning to the area for the first time in 6 years. Star-studded podium. Those guys representing 9 wins this year. It's the second win for Will Power. It's the 20th of his career. So he wins at Sonoma and he wins on the streets of Houston. And a good one. Here it is, the results. So a lot more evenly balanced today than yesterday. It was a Honda-dominated top 10. Chevrolet coming back and rebounding strong today.
Well, so much is made about drivability, and what that means is the driver's ability to get the power down smoothly, especially over a bumpy circuit. So it's interesting to see, as you said, Lee, the breakdown Chevy, Honda, Chevy, Honda, Chevy, Honda. So I would expect that to continue going into Fontana.
Big pat on the back for Oriol Serbia and the Panther Racing National Guard entry with that strong result of 7th. So well done to him. Tristan Vautier just missing out on the top 10, of which Simona Di Silvestro did work her way into the top 10. So that was good. Then we get back into the guys who were involved in that crash. Sato, Franchitti and Viso. Feel for James Jakes and Graham Rahal after such a positive day yesterday. They got caught up in some stuff and they did it tough today. Luca Filippi, how high could have he gone if it weren't for that little error that got him into the tyre bundle? And Marco Andretti got spun by Joseph Newgarden. Here's Andretti Autosport teammate Ryan Hunter-Reay having another frustrating day. But the biggest name you've got to look at is in 23rd position. Helio Castro Neves, the championship leader until today, when that man in red there, Scott Dixon, has overtaken him in the standings, and we'll head to our final race at Auto Club Speedway Fontana in 2 weeks' time with 25 points advantage. There are 54 points maximum on offer at that race, and it's down to 2. And yet again, it's the powerhouse teams of Ganassi and Penske going at it for the championship. Very frightening scenes here on the final lap of the Houston weekend. But we're pleased to say, for those of you just turning on, Dario Franchitti awake and alert. He's okay, and his team boss says, thank goodness. Back in Houston to wrap up the Shell and Pennzoil Grand Prix of Houston. It's the second last race of the year, and it has been completed. For those of you just turning on, Will Power of Penske Racing defeating Scott Dixon and James Hinchcliffe standing on the podium. It's a race that will be remembered because of a very scary crash on the last lap involving Dario Franchitti, Takuma Sato and EJ Viso, and Dario has been transported to a local area hospital for further checks. We need to update you on the championship points heading to the final race, and 25 is the magic number there, and with only 54 points is the maximum on offer, it takes Simon Pagenaud out of the running. He could still finish second, though, and that's a pretty impressive run in only his second year in the IZOD IndyCar Series. Wilson is headed for his career best in this series, and Marco Andretti slides down to the top 5. Guys, it's almost time to say farewell. Your final thoughts on this weekend?
Well, I remember last year with Hunter-Reay, we were calling it lap to lap, point by point at Fontana, and I fully expect us to see a similar situation with the way this championship has played out. Wally?
Yeah, I love this event. Glad that they pulled this off in Houston. I know these guys had a lot of work to do to make this happen and get the cars on the track, but it produced some great racing, and I hope this event's around for a while.
There will be more information to come from this event in regards to the welfare of Dario Franchitti and the welfare of the fans in the stands who were affected by the flying debris, both from the cars and the fencing. That information, the news isn't at hand for us right now, but I can steer you and encourage you to IndyCar.com for more. The Firestone Indy Lights race is coming up next, and no reason to go anywhere. We'll see you in 2 weeks for the MAV TV 500 from Auto Club Speedway. On behalf of everybody here on your NBCSN team, thanks for watching Open Wheel Racing.